doing? What up? What up? What up? Welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast. As my guy, Undisputed World Champ, always calls it, the highlight of Friday nights. Hope everyone is enjoying a fantastic Friday, coming off work, school, whatever the case may be. I am your host, Sports PSP. Along with me is the great panel. First off, BRF Sports in the building. Please go check him out on the Undisputed Go podcast every chance you get. How you doing, brother?
Life is doing pretty good. I can't complain. I got one more day of work. I got to go in early in the morning, but you know what? That ain't gonna stop me from coming here and having the privilege of sharing the spotlight with you two fine gentlemen. So it's always a pleasure to be it's always a pleasure to be invited to this show. I think what you're doing is just awesome, 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 and I'm just glad to be a little spoke on the wheel on this. So always a pleasure to be on here.
Always a pleasure having you on the pod as well, man. And of course, we cannot start the Sports PSP podcast without my main man, the four-time college degree champion, military man and veteran, the Al Roker of journalism, the young Charles Barkley, as I call him. He is the epitome of Southern hospitality. He's humble, knowledgeable, and funny. Definitely going to be spotting daiquiris and po' boys coming to the NFL season. Always giving jokes, always giving laughter, always giving everybody a good time. Oh, and definitely somebody for Mama Champ to give a hug to, especially when the Cowboys are losing. Not to wish Cowboy losses on you, Mama Champ, but you're gonna have a hard time this season. My main man, Undisputed World Champ. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Matter of fact, I got the schedule for the game. No, I actually on my refrigerator over here, since I've been in the new spot, I got a schedule for the Falcons game and schedule for the Cowboys game because I got to watch her games too. So because she work on Sunday, so so I got to watch her Cowboys and watch the Falcons too. So big shout out to mom. So hey, shout out to my guy Big Cal and the Wolfpack back home, man. So see y'all tomorrow. Football season is coming up. Ready to get these barbecues and fish fries going like we normally do it. But hey man, just always a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor to be on the Sports PSP podcast. Been a busy week for myself, but I'm happy that I made it here.
Absolutely, always a pleasure. And please, my girl Nessa. Shout out to my
Yeah.
girl Nessa. Check her out on the Sports for You Wrestling podcast. She definitely knows her wrestling, definitely has swag, personality. Love you, Nessa. Shout out to all the beautiful women out there, man. And of course, she had the comment. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to Sports PSP, Undisputed World Champ, and BRF Sports. Appreciate you, sister. Love everything that you do. Also, big shout outs to Mama PSP, Angie, Kaylin, Maddie, and of course, the great D, as we know very well, champ, very well.
Yes, indeed.
But fellas, before we start off with some of the great topics that we will dive into tonight, shocking news. I mean, Ozzy Osbourne passed away. Malcolm Jamal Warner, better known for Theo on the Cosbys, passed away at the age of 54. And Hulk Hogan passed away. I got to be honest with you, I was shocked, especially with the Hulk Hogan one, because I didn't get the news until I got off on my lunch break. And then I was reading on Instagram, Hulk Hogan passed away. And I'm like, is this for real? What is going on? But Champ sent it to me. I mean, the group chat, they sent me all that stuff. Look, I know on the pod we've talked about Hulk Hogan and we've criticized them, and rightfully so. Even though I have criticized Hulk Hogan, still at the same time, I don't wish ill will upon anyone. And I certainly don't wish death upon anyone. Hulk Hogan, as far as wrestling is concerned, you can't talk about wrestling without Hulk Hogan. You just can't. Unfortunately for Hulk Hogan, when you think of him as the human being, I mean, of course, you're going to think about the racism, the racist things that he has thought and said. You're going to think of the lies that people have called him out on. But like I said before, man, two things could be true. You can respect the art, not the person. And rightfully so, Undertaker, Triple H, Mick Foley, others paid their tributes to the late great Hulk Hogan. I will respect and admire for what Hulk Hogan has meant to wrestling during the 80s and the 90s, especially when he went to WCW, becoming a heel. As you mentioned before, champ, the NWO from 96, 98, they were the show of wrestling at that time. But it's really hard when you think of Hulk Hogan as the human being, some of the things that he has done and said. But I believe two things could be true. You can respect the art. You don't have to necessarily respect the human being. I can understand how people feel a certain way about Hulk Hogan as a person, as a human being. And that is fair to say. After all, he brought that on himself. But I'm not going to disregard what he has meant to wrestling and what he has meant to media. So I will give Hulk Hogan his flowers, even though I can condemn him for the things that he said and done as a human being. And I think his contemporaries applauding, respecting him, I think that's the best way to go. And there may be a lot more I'm going to say, and I will say it is shocking to me. But like I said, man, I don't wish bad. I don't wish ill will upon anyone. No matter how I condemn a person, no matter how much I may not necessarily like that person, I damn sure don't wish death. And I don't wish ill will. So prayers and condolences go to Hulk Hogan's family, as well as Ozzy Osbourne's family, Malcolm Jamal Warner's family. Champ, the floor is yours.
Let's not forget about world famous jazz artist Chuck Mangoni. Let's not forget about him as well. Chuck Mangoni was one of the more influential artists in jazz history. So let's not forget about Mr. Mangoni.
Thank you for reminding me of that. I apologize.
Oh, no need to apologize. I mean, it's just, everything slips our mind. It's been so much around. It's so much death around us, all of us as a whole. It's kind of hard to keep up with it. Chuck Mangoni.
And not trying to cut you off, but also if I could throw one more in there, one of the great American kind of folklore country singers of all time, Connie Francis. She passed away as well. I think she was like 84. So it's just it's hit pretty hard as of late.
Yes. Number one, it seems like the 80s just died this week. Because when you think about the 80s, you think about the Cosby Show. You can't mention the 80s without Ozzy Osbourne. You can't mention the 80s without Chuck Mangoni. You can't mention the 80s. You damn sure can't mention the 80s without Hulk Hogan. So it's like a big portion of the 80s died. Luckily for Ozzy Osbourne, we was able to see him on the farewell tour. We got to see him on the farewell tour. Malcolm Jamal Warner, he was always vocal about his art. He was always vocal about his love for jazz, love for music, his activism. And people always relate to him with the Cosby Show. But let's not forget him and one of my favorite comedians. They actually had a show together on UPM, Malcolm and Eddie.
Oh, yeah. Eddie Griffin, yeah.
Yeah, Eddie Griffin, one of the all-time greats in comedy, man. So let's not forget about that. Chuck Mangoni. Feels so good. You can't forget about that one. When you think about jazz, you got to put that song on the top of your list. Feel So Good was always a part of my childhood. In fact, shout out to my father. He used to play it in the morning as we get older. He said you can't. He used to always tell me when he put on that song, man, you can't go to work feeling rowdy. You got to go to work feeling calm and collective. So he used to play Chuck Mangoni in order to get that done. Hulk Hogan. Look, despite there is a such thing as tainted legacy, and we've seen it before. We've seen tainted legacies before. We saw it with Superfly Jimmy Snooker and in the findings that he had unalived someone. We saw it with, the late great O.J. Simpson. Remember, me and you both did a segment on that, on it live on this show after he passed. There is a such thing as tainted legacy when people pass away. Regardless of how great he was as a basketball player and how great he was on and off the court with philanthropy and everything, the first thing that people like to bring up is Colorado when it comes to Kobe. So there is and that's the first thing a lot of people brought up during his death, unfortunately. Look, the kid in me, look, the thing is this: people can say whatever they would like, but the thing is, I remember how I first started watching wrestling, and that was because of Hulk. And just because somebody did something horrible and was blatant and was blatantly hateful, that does not mean you have to follow in suit. Have y'all not learned? Have we not learned anything from Martin Luther King? So I mean, you don't have to attack hate with hate. That's not gonna go anywhere. I mean, you don't have to attack hate with hate. Send thoughts and prayers, and guess what? You don't have to let hate win just because someone had hate in their heart. Regardless, that's not the way to go. It's not the way to go. Send your thoughts and prayers and condolences. Hope that the Lord would have mercy upon him and move on. And the thing is this: everybody wants to talk that talk until it's them. See, there's an old saying that I love to say all the time. Everybody, the person who doesn't want to give mercy be the first one to beg for some. Everybody wants to cast aspersions and everything like that. But the minute it's them, they want all the grace and mercy in the world. You see. So the thing is, you can separate the art from the person. The thing is this: you can separate the art from the person. You could say Hulk Hogan was the inspiration for a lot of guys and young women. Hulk Hogan was the reason that a lot of our favorite superstars got into wrestling. Hell, The Rock even said so. Edge, Christian, a little bit of everybody. Matter of fact, I remember Edge saying that he wanted to cry when Hulk Hogan got beat at WrestleMania 6 by the Ultimate Warrior when it was in his hometown in Toronto, Canada.
Right.
You can separate the thing is we're the thing is about this Hulk Hogan situation is this. We're so, and I'm talking about everybody, we're so selective when we try to separate the art from the person. We're very, very selective when we do that. And that's what bothers me about society these days. We'll say that about famous singers, we'll say that about famous songwriters or whoever. But the thing is, whenever it's someone who doesn't fit that description or doesn't fit that is outside of the narrative, I will say, then we're quick to cast aspersion. Let's not forget this. He was responsible for a lot of us loving wrestling.
Yes.
He was the primary reason why we watch wrestling to this day. Wrestling is a global phenomenon because of Hulk Hogan. And the thing is, you can be respectful and you cannot be hateful in your mannerisms. You don't have to spew hate just because a person is passed away. Whatever happened to respecting the dead? Whatever happened to being respectful? Whatever happened to saying, hey, let's remember good things about people when they pass away? Hey, we all know that he had his issues. We all know the things we said. Heck, we heard him. But the thing is, you don't have to take that route. See, you don't have to take that route. You don't have to take that route. Just because somebody else went down that path and went down that dark road doesn't mean you have to go down there with them. Because where's that going to lead you to? Like I said, we so quick to talk that talk until it's us. Until it's us in particular. A lot of times I will say this. Look, let's call a spade a spade. There's been a lot of famous people who come to find out when they pass away had a lot of demons. And you cannot mention one thing in their career without mentioning some controversy behind it. Let's just keep it real. Like I said, when you think about Superfly Jimmy Snooker, you think about the unaliving of someone, the fact that it was a quote unquote alleged cover up for it. You think about O.J. Simpson. You think about 1994. You think, depending on who you ask, you think about our famous basketball players. When you think about the late great Chris Benoit, you think about the tragedy that happened in Atlanta. There's been a lot of tragedies, but at the same time, you don't have to take that path of hate that person took. Be respectful. It's nothing wrong with having your opinion. It's nothing wrong with having your opinions. Have your opinions, discuss them amongst yourself, but to come out and, like I said, nobody's no longer able to defend themselves at this point. They're passed away. I mean, they can't say in words. They can't say I'm sorry. They can't apologize. They can't do any of that. So guess what? You don't have to take that path of hate. You don't. Just live and let live. And like I said, you can't take away. You can dislike. You can love. You can like Hulk Hogan, but dislike Terry Bollea.
Two things can be true.
Exactly. You can like the childhood that you had, because thing is, look, Hulk Hogan, when you talk to us as millennials, you talk about him in the 80s and you talk about him in the 90s. And when you think about that, it's so ironic that his language was that towards African American people. When you look at his outfits in the 90s,
It
all of
was
that.
more. It was more to like the black culture, especially with the NWO.
Yes, when you have the graffiti on you, he had go back. I encourage whoever's watching, look at this. When you look at the outfits that Hulk Hogan used to wear, go back and put that outfits, all the graffiti, the airbrush, put that in a picture of BBD, Bill Biv DeVoe, side by side. The only difference is Hogan's colors is darker. All of that was African American and our culture. So it's so ironic about you having things to say about, let's just keep it a spade, us, but the NWO was basically everything hip hop for life. He openly admitted was copied. When they used to say NWO for life, they basically copied that from West Side Connection. When they put up the Too Sweet sign, that was the Turkish Wolf, Turkish Mob. When they used to say Too Sweet, that was hip hop. When they used to have house shows, do you know what they used to play? The Dope Dealer, the Gangster, and the Pimp. The West Side Connection song. They used to play that during house shows when the NWO used to come out. And when you pay attention to Scott Hall, he used to come out on the Fugees, Ready or Not. So the thing is this: a lot of superstars who claim to hate black folk, let's just keep it real, a lot of that stuff is copied. If you really listen to, the thing is, there was a running joke about Dusty Rhodes, because if you listen to Thunderbolt Patterson and you listen to Dusty Rhodes, he sounds exactly like Thunderbolt Patterson. So the thing is this: two things can be true. You can hate Terry Bollea, but guess what? Acknowledge, hey, that was the reason I used to watch wrestling. I never forget, first action figure I ever got from wrestling was I never forget, I was in pre-K. And I never forget, we had Secret Santa going on, and I picked up out that box and said, Miss Strictly, what I got? She said, oh man, Stephon got Lex Luger and Hulk Hogan. So that it was fun, it was funny. So hey, like I said, man, Hulk Hogan was the reason I watched wrestling. Reason I was lifting weights, him and Arnold Schwarzenegger was, I want to lift weights and have the 24-inch pythons. If you go back and look at my Instagram photos, you'll see me when I was actually in shape. But those guys influenced me to want to lift weights. Them and a lot of other superstars in the WWE. Those are the guys who influence you to lift weights, because you want to look like the wrestling superstar. You know, that was that's what you want to look like. You saw him on Gremlins. You saw him in, the Muppets. A lot of other stuff, man. But like I said, you can enjoy those memories of your childhood and you can dislike the person. But the thing is, just be respectful. Like I said, the thing is, if you died today, someone got unalived you today, you passed away today, would you want somebody digging up the dirt that you did and putting it out there?
Exactly. And that's the problem that I have with some in today's generation, the younger generation. Look, if you want to condemn or criticize Hulk Hogan as far as a human being, champ, that's fine. I mean, we cannot ignore Hulk Hogan's past. But when someone passes away, look, if you can't say something nice about that individual, then don't say nothing.
Yeah.
That's the best way to handle it. And you said it, you hit it right on the nail, champ. If someone passed away, if one of us passed away, we would be remembered for all the good things instead of all the bad things. And we don't want our legacy to be remembered by just horrible incidents. So
Yeah. Hell, I mean, I got into a fight when I was in the army. Do you think I want somebody bringing that up you think I want somebody bringing it up when I pass away? Specialist Pryor got into a fight when he was in the army. Have y'all forgotten about that? Yeah, I got into a fight. So what? I know that's not equivalent to what he did, but that is an example that people will bring it up. I mean, you don't have to. We know already. That's already been discussed. Let them rest. They're already, put it this way, not to get religious, but he's already facing his judge. Make sure when you face the judge that you're ready. We'll put it that way, because the judge ain't gonna ask you about what he did. He's gonna be asking you about what you did. So he's already facing his judge. So that's how come we always say down south, am I right, BRF? Respect the dead. Because the judge ain't asking him about your sins, and he's not gonna ask the judge about yours. So yeah, you got to be careful with that. If you don't want the judge to be asking you about yours, then don't speak on nobody else. So be careful, because you're gonna see that judge before it's all said and done. He's facing his judge already. He's facing the judge already. Just make sure when you face the judge that you're ready. And if you can't read between the lines on what I'm saying, shame on you.
not to mention, as you always mention, champ, you always use the quote from Ice-T, freedom of speech, but be careful.
Hold on. Hey, I gotta go be daddy for a little bit, so I'm gonna have to sign out for a little bit. But y'all keep going. I will be back.
No problem, BRF. No problem. But champ, as you always put it, to quote Ice-T, freedom of speech, but be careful what you say.
And the thing is,
because otherwise there's consequences. And again, people going to bring up your past, and when that resurface, okay, how you going to defend? How you going to justify that?
Yeah. And the thing is, he's not here to defend himself anymore. He's not here to apologize. And probably wasn't going to, and that doesn't matter. Like I said, he's facing his judge. That's how come we always say down south, don't speak on the dead. They're facing their judge. You just make sure you're ready when you face yours. Because the thing is this, if every little thing was brought out about each and every last one of us, a lot of us be in damn trouble. Let's just keep it all the way a buck. A lot of us would be in trouble. Hell, I know I would. So the thing is, guess what? Be respectful. Keep your mouth closed. Everything ain't got to be discussed on a high level for you to be heard. Like I stated, I even said that in my TikTok video. I'm not finna slander anybody that's no longer able to defend themselves. They're passed away. They're facing the judge, and that's just what that is. But at the same time, I'm going to acknowledge, guess what? When I was a kid, I was a fan. When I was when he faced Goldberg, my eyes were glued to the screen. When he faced the Ultimate Warrior, my eyes was glued to the screen. When he faced Andre the Giant, my eyes was glued to the screen. When he faced Sting, my eyes was glued to the screen. Ric Flair, my eyes was glued to the screen. So
The
guess what?
Rock,
The Rock, I mean Triple H, The Undertaker. Both times when
Shawn
he,
Michaels.
yes, both times when he faced the Undertaker. And let's just keep it a buck. If the Undertaker, who knew everybody knew he had problems with it, everybody knew he had problems with it. If he can show class and dignity and say, "Hey, thank you for what you did," then guess what? Who are we to sit around here and say anything about anybody? That's the Undertaker. The running joke whenever that video comes on about Hogan getting tombstone, everybody always say the same thing. Oh, you got me, brother. And so that's the thing. And if people can come out and say, look, people who don't even care for you, because yes, you can best believe there's not a lot of guys who care for you. You don't have everybody's not your friend in life. Everybody's not your friend. But if they can come out, show class, show dignity, and I'm like I stated in my videos before, I'm not the class police. But the thing is, show some decorum, show some respect. Just hush. We all know what he did. Guess what? He's facing the judge. Make sure you're ready when you face yours.
BRF, what are your thoughts?
Um, as far as Hulk Hogan goes, the way I feel about him, and I was actually at work today, and I was at work today, and my direct supervisor actually asked me how I felt about Hulk Hogan dying. And I'm gonna kind of give y'all a similar answer that I gave her, and I love her to death because I work at Pro Services at the at the Lowe's down here in my hometown. I work in Pro Services. I'm a sales specialist, and well, when I'm not talking sports, because this is the career I ultimately want to fully pursue. But yeah, y'all pretty much hit the nail on the head, PSP. Two things can be true. Like, you cannot write the history of professional wrestling without the golden era of wrestling, which was led by Hulk Hogan. And I've heard some people say, well, they could have got anybody. Hulk Hogan was just, in the right place at the right time. And I agree with that to an extent, but I also look at Hulk Hogan and and the Vince McMahon mindset as far as who he wanted to be the face of his company. Nobody else fitted like Hulk Hogan. The closest was Ultimate Warrior, but even still, like, Hulk Hogan was just that all American white meat baby face. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins. The mic skills, the charisma. Was he the greatest wrestler? Absolutely not. Well, the American style, anyway. If you watch his All Japan, New Japan stuff, the man will surprise you. If you watch his All Japan and New Japan stuff, he was actually decent. Not the greatest, but he was decent. He carried himself with guys like Muda, back with Muda and other guys like that back in Japan. But I explained it like two things can be true. Like, you can't write the history of pro wrestling without Hulk Hogan. You know, some people are saying, "Oh, we should erase Hulk Hogan from the annals of professional wrestling." You can't do that no matter how hard you try. Because you can't do that no matter how hard you try. Because at the end of the day, almost every wrestler around, or at least all the big names were inspired by him. So it's going to be basically impossible to just kind of erase him out of the annals in pro wrestling. So you can give kudos to the man for basically bringing professional wrestling into the mainstream. At the same time, let's keep it a book. You can also say F. Terry Bollea. and you can say, you know what, the heck with the person, because although that man is not here to apologize, and we're not going to further throw stones on this man. At the same time, he had 10 years to apologize, and he never did. He never did. So this is kind of like one of those things where it's like, yeah, the man basically created the pulp culture, helped create the pulp culture phenomenon that is professional wrestling. But at the same time, the character did, but the man also, I mean, let's keep it a buck. The man outside of the ring did not like us. Did not like us. Did not like us at all. I'm talking. I'm talking about the crazy thing about his death. It's 10 years. Yesterday was 10 years to the day of that rant where he was talking about his daughter dating a black guy. And I'm not going to repeat anything. Google it. Look it up. I'm saying, like, the first time I saw that and I read that, immediately every single ounce of respect I had for that man as a human being went out the window. It went out the window because WrestleMania 1, the first main event of WrestleMania history, was you and Mr. T versus Paul Orndorff and Rowdy Roddy Piper. You tag team with one of us.
Don't forget Jimmy Snooker.
Exactly.
Jimmy Snooker
Exactly.
was in his
So
corner.
it's so
Muhammad
it's
Ali was special guest referee.
exactly. So it's not like a lot of your biggest moments ever did not involve at least one of us. I mean, one of the greatest spectacles in WrestleMania history was WrestleMania 18. Hulk Hogan versus The Rock, half Samoan, half black. Rock's father being the late great Hall of Famer Rocky Johnson. So it's one of those things where it is a touchy subject, but at the same time, don't feel like we're not okay. This is how I feel about the situation. The ones that are going to show condolences and give the man his flowers and give him kudos for everything he's done, that hey, you don't want to shame them. But on the other hand, the people that remember what he left these last 10 years of his life as far as him as a human being, you can't shame them either. There is boundaries. There's still respect that needs to be shown for what he did for the sport, but there's also a realization. There's also a realization that has to set in when it comes to talking about Terry Bollea, the man. He was not a good human being. But we do not wish death on anyone. We don't wish bad on anyone because at the end of the day, karma has a funny way of walking around at your front door if you're not careful. And karma never misses. Karma bats 1,000. Karma bats 1,000. So here's say hi. Hi.
Oh,
Yes. Go shut my door. Yes. Go shut my door. I love that child. Anyways. All right. So, oh no, yeah, I know. So, but yeah, just like I was saying, you have to come to a realization about what he did for the business, but also what he did as a human being. Yeah. Karma bats 1,000. Karma don't miss. Karma's Barry Bonds when it comes to life. It don't miss. It ain't gonna miss. Hitting home runs every time it comes to the plate. So you have to think about that before you say certain things. We being who we are in this business, in this profession, we are allowed, we have the privilege of doing this. We are allowed to have the right to be able to exercise how we feel, but we must do it in a way that's not distasteful,
And
but
responsible.
also shed light and exactly, but also be responsible, shed light on things, educate, teach, be responsible for those. We're kind of like CM Punk. He calls himself the voice of the voiceless. In a way, we're kind of like that. We speak for those who might not have the opportunity to speak like this. So we, in a sense, have a duty to tell people and to educate and to show them, like, hey, don't feel bad about reminding people what that man has done for this business. Don't feel bad for reminding everybody the person out the ring could care less about you. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we lost. He is an icon to the sport. We send prayers and condolences to his family. The one I really thought about after Hope died was Brooke. She was the one I thought about the most because
His
they had
daughter.
an estranged his daughter, yes, because they were estranged. They weren't talking like after 2023 was the last time she spoke to him. But what really kind of hit me in the feels a little bit, she said, and I quote, I well not quote, but basically verbatim, that she was fortunate enough to be able to tell him that she loved him the last time they spoke. And honestly, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. The fact that he knew his daughter still had love for him, still loved him. That's what it's about. That's what this world revolves around, should revolve around at the end of the day. It's how we speak to each other and how we treat each other and how we love each other. So we always got to remember that. So we definitely send prayers and condolences to Hulk Hogan's family. We have to do that. We send prayers and condolences to his peers, his friends, everyone that grew up around him in the business, that hung out with him in and out of the business, that saw this man close up and develop bonds, develop relationships. It's crazy. Kevin Nash is the last OG member of the big three of the NWO. Kevin Nash is it when it comes to
And
the NWO. Scott Hall's gone. Hulk Hogan is now gone. Kevin Nash is left. And I want to say this to bring a little light to the stage. To any wrestlers out there, any of the pro wrestlers out there, whether in AEW, WWE, TNA, it don't matter. If you're just by the sheer luck watching the Sports PSP podcast and listen to what I have to say, as a man who is an avid Scott Hall fan, who thought Scott Hall was one of the most underrated, underappreciated dudes of our generation. Somebody, please, for me, on a mainstream big time stage, walk out the Ready or Not by the Fugees. Do it one time for me. Please do it one time for me. Walk out the Ready or Not by the Fugees. Do it one time for me. I want to see somebody use that on a big time mainstream stage one time just to pay homage and respect to that brother, because Scott Hall is like one of those, like, I just have ample amounts of love and respect for, and everything that he went through, and in the way that he went out, that Scott Hall is one of those that kind of hurt me. So if y'all hear me, please, somebody, Ready or Not by the Fugees, do it for me one time, and do it for me one time in the interest. Just show your brother some love. Remember, BRL Sports told you this. Do it for me, please. Now that I got that out the way, condolences to his family and friends, because at the end of the day, Hulk Hogan is one of the ultimate staples of that sport. And we have to acknowledge that. We just have to acknowledge that it is. I mean, sometimes what you do as a human being can sometimes outweigh what you did for your sport and for your craft. And Hulk Hogan is one of those. He's at that. He's really at that. So it's mainly just about acknowledging, educating, teaching, and we move forward that way. Hopefully, a lot of people that are in his profession don't make a lot of the same mistakes he did, outside of the ring. But with that being said, RIP to Hulk Hogan. He is one of the icons of this sport. And we send prayers and condolences to his family. We're not going to disrespect you in any way, shape, or form. We have no reason to kick you down. We have no reason to knock you down. But we also must acknowledge the factual information that is out there. And we just have to remember that. And just always remember to love each other and educate each other and understand mistakes and what we can do to learn from mistakes and how we can and what we can do to continue to grow as a country, because until we are fully having these discussions and these conversations with not just among us, but among other ethnicities and nationalities and races of people, until we're doing this on a regular basis and people are actually truly listening and not letting it go out in one ear and out the other, we are never going to fully continue to grow as a country. So just a little bit of food of thought, and hopefully y'all can let that marinate a little bit.
Dwayne Coleman, shout out to our guy. He's checking out the Sports PSP pod. He said it right here. It's the same thing I said. I still listen to R. Kelly's music. People want to ask me, oh, why you still listening to his music, but you could separate the artist from the person. Yes, I completely agree, Dwayne, because I spoke about that with R. Kelly. I did the video. Can we compartmentalize? Two things can be true. You can condemn someone for some of the terrible or horrible things that they've done, but at the same time, I'm not going to disregard nor diminish their art. Their art speaks for itself. As for Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, yes, the human being, it's hard to like him, the human being, given his racism and given the fact that he was, and I'm sorry, a pathological liar. But I cannot take away what he has accomplished as a wrestler and how he helped catapult wrestling back in the 80s and in the 90s. And you cannot tell the story of wrestling without Hulk Hogan. You do that, you're doing a major disservice for us and generations and for people who know and study wrestling. So, look, that's all we're going to leave it on. But before we move on to the next subject, let's just have a quick moment of silence real quick. Thank you. All right, fellas, let's get on to the next subject. Lord, I wish I had another bottle of DiSerrano or Angry Orchards because Donald Trump, man.
Oh gosh.
He is demanding the Washington Commanders and also the Cleveland Guardians, correct me if I'm wrong, champ, to go back to the original names. This is what he put in his social media. This is what he wrote on Truth Social. I may put a restriction on them that if they don't change the name back to the original, I won't say the name, and get rid of the ridiculous moniker Washington Commanders, I won't make a deal for them to build a stadium in Washington. The team would be much more valuable and the deal would be more exciting for everyone. I'm reading an article from CNN's Kit Meyer regarding the deal. The organization left Washington for Landover, Maryland back in 1997. However, DC Mayor Muriel Bowser and the team announced a deal back in April to bring the Commanders back to the district at the site of the old Robert F. Kennedy Memorial Stadium. Trump touted the deal at the time, but the proposal is stalled before the DC Council. All right, look. I got to touch on this because, again, anyone who knows me knows I am a Washington Commanders fan. I bleed burgundy and gold. No, they should not go back to the old name. I don't think we don't need to do that because A, we're not moving forward. We're not making any progress. I believe now if they want to keep the name Commanders or try to find a different name to build their identity, have had it. Now, again, champ, as I mentioned before, remember, isn't there some type of Native American group that has like over 100,000 signatures for them to have the name back to the old name?
Yes, that's what I was looking up right now as you was talking. I was kind of stalling if you really want me to be honest with you. But yes, in fact, Pat McAfee, I think it was the Native Americans Association. I think they had over 100,000 signatures in order to bring that back. Pat McAfee brought up that. Not to mention the Blackfeet chief himself. Well, not himself. He's passed on. God rest his soul. But his family has come out and said that we want him as the mascot back on the helmets and on the field. So there's been not only the petition, and they told this to not only CNN but Fox News as well. It's been documented, so we're not out here spreading false lies. This has been documented, so feel free to piggyback on some of the articles that we're speaking on. So there's been that, and there's also just learned this recently. There's been also a lot of clamoring for some of your fellow fans because from what I've
Yeah,
been told, a lot of the fans, the hardcore fans, don't wear the Commanders gear.
they
They
wear
wear
the old, gear.
gear of the old team. So if you combine that, if you combine the Native Americans Association signing that petition, a lot of the old players, include I think it was Mosley, the kicker, he
Mm-hmm.
was he was clamoring for it, and not to mention, the Blackfeet Chiefs descendants, they came out and said that they wanted them to bring it back. When you couple that into a lot of things, that is going to influence a lot of guys in order to bring it back. I don't think that he should have been involved with it at this point in time, to be honest with you, because the thing is, just a couple of years ago, when we had a certain incident in the NFL, everybody was talking about keep politics out of sports. So
Right. And
where,
remember, and
yeah,
in
I'm trying not to
2000,
bring that up, but
right. And in
yeah,
2020, Washington did change the name and went to Washington football team because remember, this was in the aftermath of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter movement, and all these major companies, FedEx, Nike, Amazon, Dick's Sporting Goods. They were like, Washington, until you change the name and the logo of the team, we're not going to do any business with you.
yeah,
And Dan Snyder, the previous owner, said, we will never change the name. No, I'm not joking, Cham. He said, we will never change the name. You can put it in caps.
yeah, I remember that.
My thing is with President Trump, you got bigger fish to fry. You do. Sorry, but I got to say this.
Oh,
Your job the past 6 months, to say that it's been awful would be an enormous understatement. I mean, look at what's going on with this country, with the crime, the economy, the ICE situation, all these other things that are going on in this world. So I don't need you. We need you to focus on helping out this country, helping out this world, because right now America is in the toilet. And the other reason why you're trying to be slick, or Stephen A said evasive, is because there's a certain list, Mr. President, that you don't want exposed. And it seems to me that you'll focus on other things that are less important as far as I'm concerned. If I'm Washington, if I'm Josh Harris, Magic Johnson, I ignore it. I'm going to keep the name Commanders or I'm going to go to something else. And again, we said this off the air, champ. Go use that term in a Native American reservation and see how that will get you.
yeah. Somebody get yourself put in a bad way. They're gonna be calling out you're gonna end up a code. That code is called 187. So don't.
And shout out to Max Kellerman, because he was the one who has mentioned this numerous times on First Take about the name. He said it himself. He would never use the name. And
Yeah.
Max Kellerman convinced me and a lot of others, hey, do we really need to go and call this team that name? It's been time now for it to be changed. And look, Daniel Snyder decided to change the name because money started talking. People with money and authority, champ, as well, and you know this, BRF too. Owners don't like to be told what to do. Billionaires don't like to be told what to do. Ultimately, when Dan Snyder's pockets started talking, then he decided to jump shift. But for me, with this new ownership, whether if the fans want the name or not, whether if President Trump wants the name or not, no. I've said this before. They don't need to go back to that old name. I think it's time. I think it's best to move on, embrace the Washington Commanders, focus on all the great things that has happened with the new ownership. We got a new quarterback. We got a new owner. We just fresh off from an NFC Championship appearance, the first time since 1991. We have the new Washington Commanders alternate uniforms. So we have a lot of good things for Washington and DC, and hopefully bringing the team back to DC, the RFK Stadium. But to go back to that old name, no, I don't think so. Because if Native Americans do find the name offensive, which some do, I can't speak for all Native Americans, but if they find the name offensive, then no, I don't need to go back to that old name. I don't. Because to me, I mean, is that what I really want to do? Do I really want to be proud of a team that offends a certain group, a certain demographic? Is that something I want to be proud of? And like I said with President Trump, man, you got bigger fish to fry because you look at this time, you look at your second term, you've only been president for 6 months. And your second term so far I think, is worse than your first time. And that's saying something. It really is. And again, you just trying to ignore the big issue, which is that certain list that you don't want exposed. You didn't think I was going to bring that up. BRF, I know you wanted to touch on this because you didn't speak too much about it on Champ's podcast. Floor is yours.
Y'all gotta forgive me. I kind of got to get in the holster on this one because I got a few things I got to get on my. I got to get off my chest about this situation. Um, first off, Donald Trump, you need to worry about. You need to worry about getting that list out so we can so we can find a way to boot your ass out the Oval Office. But that's another conversation, neither here nor there. Um,
I love it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hey, listen. They don't call us the highlight of Friday nights for a reason.
hey champ, hey, PSP champ, y'all my brothers, and I love y'all to death. But I forewarned y'all before this. This ain't gonna get too bad. But in the words of CM Punk, I got some things that I got to get off my chest. It ain't gonna be a pipe bomb. It ain't gonna be a pipe bomb. You know what? The hell with it. It's gonna be a little bit of a pipe bomb. First off, stay your ass out of this. We don't need you in this. You stay over there. Something like this needs to be decided by the organization, the fans, just all that. They decide this. You stay out of it. You stay out of it. You and shoot, we go back to your first term. You seem to have a tendency to always want to put your nose in something sports related. We can go all the way back to the instance of Colin Kaepernick taking a knee during the national anthem and a particular line that you said about SOBs getting fired for taking a knee during the national anthem. We told you then to stay your ass out of sports. I'm gonna tell you again. Stay your orange ass out of sports. Stay out of sports. You're lucky we have somewhat of an understanding of that executive order you signing that's taking the pay for play out of third party in the NIL. You're lucky we have a little understanding on that because that's gotten kind of out of control. Because honestly, you should stay your ass out of that too. But we have a little understanding on that. So we'll let that slide. But as far as the name of the Washington Commanders is concerned, shut your dumb ass up. Shut up. I don't want to hear nothing else come out your mouth regarding this topic as long as it's going on. Your first 6 months in office is already worse than your entire first 4 years, and they were trash. So that says something about you. So do us all a favor and go talk to your Senate, talk to your House, and quit trying to find ways to find distractions to get out of the fact that you are on that list multiple times. The fact that we know Pam Bondi told you back in May you were on this damn thing, and you've been trying to find a way to avoid any type of accountability since this whole thing has happened. Stay your ass out of sports. You don't even know politics, let alone wanting to jump into sports. Please do us all a favor. If
The boy
I
don't
could
read.
walk up,
The man don't
if
read,
I,
BRS. He don't
huh?
read. He does not read. He does not
Let me
read.
t- let me tell you something, okay? If I had a gigantic roll of duct tape and you gave me one opportunity to just go around his mouth and say shut up for a month, I would be so happy to do this because he makes himself look worse and worse and worse every time he opens his mouth. It's like whenever he opens his mouth, that's like one more toe. I can only imagine the amount of feet he has put in his mouth since he became the president of the United States again. I am tired of I'm sick of him. I'm really sick of him. I'm sick of him.
Seems like
He
to me
needs
you
to.
want to put it. Seems like to me you want to put your foot in his ass.
Well, mine. Well, both of mine. Maybe borrow some others to where he can't sit down for about a couple of months because he's starting to get on my nerves. He's been getting on my nerves, but now it's like it's like this man wants to be like this almighty above all and doesn't know just the first thing about common sense, period. Just shut up. Just shut up. Just don't say anything. Focus on what you need to focus on, which is attempting, which is I'm saying it. Whoo, I might be understating saying it by attempting to run this nation. By attempting to run this nation. It's the fact that we as a country are stuck with the idea of calling Donald Trump the most powerful man in the world. I want to throw up the fact that we are unfortunately stuck with this man for the next 4 years, unless I hope by God they release this list and they release this list and they throw him out like DJ Jazzy Jeff out of the House of Bel Air on his ass.
If I'm Washington, I would not have Donald Trump in any involvement with the name of the team. I would
None
just
at
ignore. I would
all.
no. I would just ignore him like the NAACP, like the NAACP. You see how the way they rejected him, unlike unlike the NAABJ, the Black Journalists Convention, when they brought Donald Trump there,
Man, that's crazy.
I would, I would pretend. I
No,
would,
but
I would, I would, I would, I would,
no, but
I would pretend.
no, we
Right
speaking
there.
facts, champ. At the same time, even though you are, I'll give you this, champ. You're taking the more PC role, and I'll give you credit. Although you smiling, you smiling like you looking at a plate of fried chicken and collard greens right now. But I'm telling you right now, champ, I'm getting tired of this Donald Trump man. He is getting on my fucking nerves because there are far more important things to do, helping out this country, helping out this world, and you want to focus on the Commanders
I would
because
pretend he. I would
we all
pretend
know you.
he's not.
We all knew you wanted to try to own a football
Mm,
team. We all knew you wanted to try to own a football team.
mm,
And which, by the
mm.
way, even if you own a football team, you would have found a way to wreak havoc. You would have found a way to sabotage it. Talk about Dan Snyder, James Dolan 2.0. I believe you, as an owner of an NFL or any establishment, it would have been a disaster.
He killed an
True.
entire league. What are we? He
That's my
killed
point.
an entire
That's my
league.
that's my point. Why the hell is he talking about the team, considering the fact that he sabotaged the league? But to be Chip, look, maybe I'm emotional because again, this is my team. I don't need the president. I don't need President Trump speaking on behalf of my team. Go kick rocks. Go focus on this country. Go focus on the society. Shit. I don't need Donald Trump actually telling us to go back to the name of that team. Hell no. Go sit your ass down. Go work at the office like you're supposed to. Stop being a baby and do your fucking job.
I would. I would. I would. I
You've
would
been there
pretend
for
he's
six
doing.
months.
I
You've
would
been there for
pretend.
6 months. You've been
Just
there for
pretend
6
he's
months.
doing something like Stormy Daniels on date night.
God have mercy. Lord have mercy.
At least he say Angela White.
Just do your
Well,
job. Just do
do
your job
you?
as a president. We don't care about you talking about the name of the team and all this other stuff. Go focus on being the best president that you can be. But it seems like to me, you just can't stop putting your foot in your mouth. You just can't learn to shut the fuck up. And Donald Trump, no one cares what you have to say about the teams. You just trying to do this because, again, you can't help yourself. You just love it to be about you. You just love the attention. You just love the narcissism. You just love everything about Donald Trump. Go ahead, champ.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. In the great words of Raiden off of Mortal Kombat. I'm gonna go back to the political correctness, but the thing is, he's always had an infatuation with the National Football League, dating all the way back to his USFL days. He wanted to face the league then, and then because they wouldn't let him in the club then, so he chose to go head on with them. Then he tried to go head on and move to the fall. That is why the USFL failed because of the lawsuit. But thankfully, he did lose. Because the thing is, without him losing that lawsuit, we don't get the Hall of Fame players that played in the NFL. From the USFL, just to name a few names, we got Reggie White, we got Nate Newton, Steve Young, Doug Flutie, just to name a few. So, I mean, not to mention Herschel Walker, but which has, yeah, he from Georgia, but yeah. We'll leave it at that. But look.
But true though.
True. But look, here's my thing for people who, and here's for you guys, and I'm gonna just take a step out of my comfort zone and say something. For those of you guys, when PSP edits this, are gonna say something, don't keep that same blank energy when you told a lot of these athletes to keep politics out of sports. Keep that same energy. Because when these young men were out here kneeling and doing, and mind you, don't come at me. Let me tell you something. Before you come at me, understand this. I picked up a rifle and went across that water. So guess what? I get it. I earned what I had to say. I earned it. So before y'all go attacking PSP and attacking BRF for what they got to say, just 4 years ago, just a few years ago, we was talking about leaving politics out of sports. So why do we need a tyrant in office reigning over sports? We don't need that. The thing is, it wasn't just the Washington Commanders have a stained history. It wasn't Dan Snyder wasn't their first bad owner. The original owner, George Preston Marshall, was a bad owner to the point where they erased his name off of everything involving that organization. Why is that, do you say? Because he named the darn team. And he had a history of being very, very prejudiced. That's why his name got erased off of everything, although he is the original owner. So for people who are going to attack BRF and PSP about what they had to say, notice this. I went across that water so guys like these men right next to me could talk. So with that being said, if you're going to leave politics out of sports, keep that same energy now. If we're going to say that, keep that same energy right now. I don't give a damn who you think has something to say. Because just a couple of years ago, keep politics out of sports. Sports has no politics and sports go hand in hand. How the hell you think Jackie Robinson got into fucking sports? How the hell you think stadiums are built? They come from our money. So if you're going to say something to PSP, you're going to say something to BRF about what they got to say about their views, keep that same energy that you had years ago, because you told everybody to keep politics out of sports. Now we have people in office telling sports owners how to run their teams once again. Because you want to bring back, because you want to take a step back and bring back derogatory names. Like I said, if the fans want to bring it back, if the Native American people and the associations want to bring it back, bring it back. I have no problem with it. But if they deem it offensive, leave it alone. But the thing is, what y'all not going to do is y'all are not going to attack men like PSP, great men like BRF, who have something to say about politicians and politics. But when somebody did something as simple as take a knee, you had a lot to say. And it's quite ironic that a draft dodger had anything to damn say about anybody. Yeah, I said it. Why?
We only spit facts here.
Why? I joined when I was 17. I wasn't even out of high school. Yeah. So I don't want to hear shit about what a draft dodger got to say about somebody new. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it at all. Because I was better than you when I was 17 years old. So men like me, men like my father, men like my brother, God rest his soul, who was a tanker in the army. Men like my uncle who fought in Vietnam. So I don't want to hear nothing about what a draft dodger got to say about it's disrespectful to the flag. It's disrespectful for the flag when you try to dodge what your duty is to your country. That's what's disrespectful. I didn't dodge my duty. My father didn't dodge his. My brother didn't dodge his, and neither did my uncle, neither did my sister, my cousins. In my family alone, there are 10 members of the military. In my family alone. So guess what? We fought so people like BRF and PSP can say what they got to say. So guess what? If you got energy for them, then guess what? Feel free to bark up this tree, because the thing is this. I don't want to hear nothing about what a draft dodger got to say about the country. I don't want to hear anything about what he had to say about anything else. Because the thing is, you're still pissed off at the NFL because they didn't let you in. That's why come you got so much to say about the NFL. They didn't let you in back in the 80s, and when you tried to buy the Buffalo Bills, They didn't want to let you in then. In fact, you were the highest bidder. And they still wouldn't let you in. So now that you're not a now that you're not a part of the billionaires boys club and you're a jackleg politician who couldn't pass political science if you tried, then I don't want to hear it. Keep that same energy. I don't give a damn about who you call dad. I don't give two craps about who you call. So guess what? Keep politics out of sports if you're gonna keep that same energy. I don't want to hear it.
Passing
Because
political science. That man could barely pass regular science.
yeah, so I don't want to hear it. The thing is, don't try to attack PSP. Don't try to attack BRF because guess what? What they have to say is just as valid as your damn opinion. And the thing is, don't try to discredit men like PSP and BRF opinion, and then when somebody else say something that's on your side of history, then you want to say, "Well, he has a right to an opinion." The hell with that.
Yeah, because you side with that opinion.
Yeah,
And then again, people gonna say, "Oh, why you got to be so woke? Why you got to be so woke?"
yeah.
And all this other shit.
Let me. I want to tell some people about that, and I hope that you clip this. It ain't
Go
woke
ahead.
just because your ass uncomfortable. It ain't woke just because your ass uncomfortable. I'm gonna say that one last time. It ain't woke just because your ass uncomfortable, and it ain't racist just because I'm uncomfortable. What does that mean, champ? Just because I spit some science about what just happened in history, what happening today, and what we need to do as a country, and you feel uncomfortable, don't mean I'm woke. Matter of fact, I'm probably the least woke person you probably want to ever see because I hate politics with a passion. Why? Because it gets people hurt. It divides us more than anything. You find more division in religion and politics more than anything on this earth. So guess what? Every time you want to get uncomfortable and you want to say, "Oh my God, whoa," guess what? Who cares? Be uncomfortable. You need to be uncomfortable sometimes. Guess
Get
what?
used to it.
I'm not comfortable talking about politics all the time. I'm not comfortable talking. I was once uncomfortable talking about sports on screen right about now. But guess what? You get over it, you learn, and you take what you need to take with you, and you move on. But the thing is this: I don't want to hear anybody come at these two men right here talking about whoa. No, they're speaking facts. Because guess what? Years ago, we was talking about keeping politics out of sports. Now we have tyranny talking about getting into sports, trying to regulate everything. I can understand if sports had a scandal, kind of like the baseball scandal, where you had steroids all around, where teams wasn't getting tested. I can understand government intervening in that because it needs to be regulated. It needed to be regulated. At the same time, baseball was at its best during that time of it being tainted and stained. So I understand politics getting involved then and there when you have no drug testing, when a lot of steroids, a lot of drugs are in sport. I can understand that. Getting involved because of a name, what are we doing? This is a name. It's the name of a team. This does not concern you. You're not an owner of an NFL team. You're not one of the governors, and you're sure as hell your name is not Roger Goodell. So you need to sit this one out. And I'm not going to bring up whatever because you young men and gentlemen and you brilliant young men and gentlemen have already brought it up. So I don't have to bring it up. But the thing is, keep that same darn energy that you had years ago when protests were going on and everything like that. Keep politics out of sport. Okay. Tell that man in the Oval Office to keep his ass out of sports, and we can keep on moving forward, and we can enjoy this NFL season, and I can get my hot wings in peace.
Exactly, because this is not an issue. Because this is not an issue that
Of
you need to
politics.
be concerned about. Of all the things you want to be concerned about, this is the one you want to be concerned about. And again, the old name. Go to a Native American reservation and use that term. How will
Exactly.
that go? Wouldn't go well.
It would
And
not
like
go.
I'll say it. I'll say it again. The past 6 months since he's been back at office, one could argue he has done a worse job than the first term. And we went through a lot during his first term. We don't need to go any further. And for those who may say, why are you talking about Trump? Well, because he keeps, once again, he keeps opening his mouth and talking about the name of the team. No, stay the fuck away from our team. Go focus on this country, because this country so far has been a train wreck since you've been back in office. Look at the economy. Look at all the things that have been going on in this country.
And look what you did to veterans, the very guys that y'all said that was being disrespected by the kneeling. Look what happened. So for anybody who's gonna call these young men these men that I'm working with woke, go play in traffic, because I don't want to hear it. And while you're out there playing in traffic, do your dance. Because the thing is, the very soldiers like myself who are affected by some of these policies, these were the same soldiers that you said were being disrespected back in 2020. So before you come at PSP or BRF about anything they got to say, think about everybody that's being damn affected by it. Because years ago, you were saying keep politics out of sports. Now that your so-called damn daddy got something to say about it, now you want to sit around here and have a damn opinion about it. Shut your damn mouths if you're not going to say nothing constructive. And keep your damn nose out of NFL business. Because you told everybody else, all the community activists, you told everybody in politics, and you told every sports star in the damn world, including LeBron James, to stay out of damn politics. So
to shut up and dribble.
Exactly. So keep your damn daddy out of politics as well. And stop trying to be damn hypocrites every time something fucking fits your damn narrative. And have some damn sense. Because you don't have piss for sense right now because of how you're looking on the internet and everywhere else. Some of you idiots out there on social media, you make the country that we fought for look horrible. All because somebody who fits your damn narrative wants to sit around here and criticize a football team about a damn name. But yet when an athlete says something about a young man getting killed, you want to say keep politics out of sports. And I'm getting angry right about now because I get tired of hearing that same bull jive every single year.
No, you spitting facts, champ. You spitting nothing but facts because every single
exactly.
I don't even like raising my voice, and I don't even like talking about.
No. Go ahead, champ.
That same energy now that somebody who fits your narrative is talking about it. Because when it was on the other side of it, keep politics out of sport. It doesn't have a place in there. It's woke. Okay. Then take your non-woke ass over there somewhere and sit it down while the Washington Commanders are playing. They're not the damn R word. Tell him to go sit his ass down now. Because guess what? When it was concerning communities, when it was concerning policy, when it's concerning people getting hurt, you want to keep politics out of sports. So now that it's the name, tell him to go sit his behind back into that Oval Office and be quiet. And if you ain't down with that, you should be ashamed of yourself. Don't be a hypocrite now.
They're gonna be hypocrites, champ. Because again,
you got grown men out here calling somebody who ain't even birthed them their daddy. Go sit your ass down and shut up. I don't want to hear it. And like I said, I don't have no dog in this fight. I don't have no dog in this fight. What I get mad at is when guys like PSP, BRF, and whoever speaks, everybody wants to sit around here and criticize and stop being woke. Okay, well, if they stop being woke, how about you take your non-woke ass over there somewhere and sit it down? Because when we was talking about issues within our own community and issues about the country,
you didn't give a fuck about us.
You didn't give a blank about whoever was talking.
You just basically told us
to shut up and dribble.
Shut up and dribble. Shut up and play. Not give a fuck about us. So now all of a sudden you want to come and spew this bullshit? Nah, get the fuck out of my face.
Exactly.
And
so don't come around here with this dumbness. Excuse me, PSP. I apologize.
No, it's good, man.
trying to get just because he had the name should be changed. I thought you said keep politics out of sports because let a certain other president had said anything like that and see what that would see what you would have said.
Mm-hmm.
So now that it's fitting your narrative, you want to, oh yeah. Okay, if you want to keep politics out of sports, keep it out of sports. Now it's kind of impossible to keep politics out of sports because taxpayer dollars pay for stadiums. It's kind of hard to keep politics out of sports because zoning, condemning buildings, finding a place in order to build that. Well, guess what? Taxpayer dollars. It has to go through the law. They have to meet with the mayor in order to renew their leases. In order to build businesses around that stadium, you have to go through certain policies. So guess what? Not only is NFL big business for everybody else, it's a big business for politics and the economy of those cities, of their respective cities. They have to get approval from the mayor in order to do a lot of other things. So guess what? It's kind of hard to kick politics out of sports. But if we're going to keep it out of sports as far as the political level and having uncomfortable talks, let's keep it all the way out of sports and tell politicians to shut the fuck up when it comes to sports.
Thank you.
But if we're not going to keep that same energy with everybody, then don't say a word when LeBron James, Colin Kaepernick, or anybody else comes out and say anything about injustice. Because guess what? What you're doing is you're covering up your eyes and burying your face in the sand because you don't want to see it, and you'd rather hide behind the word woke when it's time to. And that's all I have to say about that.
Well said, champ. Couldn't have said it any better. Again, with the name Washington, if they want to keep the name Commanders or find a different name, that's fine. Same thing with the Cleveland Guardians. If they want to change the name, find something different to find their own identity, fine. But going back to the old names, that doesn't make any progress whatsoever. It's just holding us back. And with Donald Trump, shut the hell up. And I don't like saying this about a president. And I understand, champ, because again, you come from a military background and you don't look at the president as one man. You look at it as like a group or an institution. But it's really hard for me to look at it when that very man in office doesn't.
What's so funny about this whole thing is this. 10 years ago, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Now, there's been a lot of politicians that have been involved with sports. You know, JFK, I never forget, he went on record saying that Sonny Liston should fight Floyd Patterson for the heavyweight title and give Sonny Liston his first title shot. Everybody knows that Gerald Ford used to play football. Everybody remembers Ronald Reagan's win one for the Gipper. You know, that is synonymous with Notre Dame. So we've seen politicians be involved with sports, but not on this type of level. As far as changing names, as far as telling the Cleveland Guardians to change their name back to, you know, a very derogatory term as well. I mean, the thing is, look, the names were changed for a reason. Names were changed for a reason. So guess what? When these names are changed, guess what? Keep your political opinions out of sports because guess what? If they deem it as being a racist name, then guess what? Y'all always love when racism is called political when it's really not. But if somebody deems something inappropriate or something like that and they change the name, it's all right to get mad. I would have been mad if they would have changed the Braves name. But at the same time, hey, I would have had to live with it. Atlanta still would have been my team. But we got to stop with the double standards. We're going to say keep politics out of sports, then keep the politicians out of it as well. The NFL is the last club that needs regulations. Roger Goodell and company have been ruling that for years with an iron fist. They got that map tight. Baseball, I understood because there were so many steroids. You had to strike. You had a little bit of everything going on. And Ronald Fear, the head of the Players Associations was able to do things with the Players Association for years. So they didn't have to test for steroids. So I understand congressional hearings and getting involved with that. That needed to be regulated. I can also understand, to BRS point, getting involved in NIL because that needs to be regulated at this point. I understood. But the thing is, for you to be making this big of a fuss about a name that it's already been written, history has already been done on that one, and you still making a big deal out of it, I don't think that needs to be done. And guess what? If the fans want it back, bring it back. But if they don't, and they want to keep everything the same and move forward with the progress that they have made with this special organization, then I think that the fans and the ownership should be respected. They know what they're doing. Mr. Trump, you're not an NFL owner for a reason. They kept you out of the NFL for a reason. And even when you made the highest bid for the Buffalo Bills and you betrayed the USFL, they kept you out of that club for a reason. So guess what? Now that you're not a part of that club, please excuse yourself from NFL and MLB business and get back to what you do and get to what you're supposed to be doing. Just like tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up and get back to what I'm supposed to do and go run in order to work this flab off. You need to go back to that office and work that list off. And I'm not talking about the list that you think I'm talking about. You need to work that list off of getting this country all the way together, because that is your job. Your job is not to give your input on NFL teams and what they should be doing. So, in the great words of, I will use my name, Jacoby, shut up and politic.
Thank you. All right. We definitely, boy, we got a lot of the blood that was boiling, but no one's blood wasn't boiling more than Cam Newton this week. He went on his podcast, 4th and 1, and he said Jalen Hurts is not top 10, to which Dan Orlowski, Ryan Clark, Stephen A. Smith had a lot to say. And Cam Newton, he went off. Cam Newton respond. Basically, champ, Ryan Clark talked about Cam Newton's accomplishments compared to Jalen Hurts' accomplishments. Then Cam Newton also talked about Ryan Clark's success compared to Cam Newton's success, both college and in the NFL. Look, regarding Cam with Jalen Hurts, he says he doesn't view Jalen Hurts top 10 because it's hard to evaluate him because of what he has around him with the Philadelphia Eagles, with the team, the weapons, Saquon Barkley, the offensive line, and the defense. I still would put Jalen Hurts top 10 for the record. Do I agree with Cam not putting Jalen Hurts top 10? I think Cam was wrong to not put Jalen Hurts top 10. Jalen Hurts is a good enough quarterback. He has made Philadelphians and Eagles fans forget more about Carson Wentz, because remember, it was supposed to be Carson Wentz's team. Carson Wentz, had not been for injury in 2017, would have won the league MVP. He was supposed to be their future. Jalen Hurts came in, has done his part to lead by example, has been to 2 Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl MVP. And Cam Newton, for those who want to say, well, Cam is hating on Jalen Hurts because Cam has been to a Super Bowl, never won a Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Jalen has been to 2 Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl. Cam has made it clear he has nothing but respect for Jalen Hurts. He doesn't dislike Jalen Hurts. He's not jealous of Jalen Hurts. He actually said Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. And Cam Newton is absolutely right from the standpoint, because a lot of times it seems like it's more about the messenger rather than the message. Because I mentioned this before, champ, Kimberly Martin. Remember what she had to say about Cam Newton when he said Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, his game managers, right? And remember what she and a lot of other people had to say about Cam at that time. And even though they put up great numbers individually, They didn't win the MVP. Brock Purdy, had he won that game against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football, he would have notched the MVP, but he didn't. It ended up going to Lamar Jackson. And I thought, shouldn't be at some point, because I remember I did the video on this, and I know you've done a lot of TikTok videos, Champ. Hey, isn't it at some point the media is probably going to have to give Cam Newton an apology? Oh, wait, that never happened because we didn't expect them to. But for Ryan Clark, I am kind of disappointed that Ryan Clark had to bring that up with Cam because, again, Cam is now with ESPN. He does come from time to time on ESPN. And look, Ryan Clark even went on the Pivot podcast and talked about the Kimberly Martin situation with what she had to say about Cam Newton. And it's easy to hate on Cam because obviously Cam has a big personality, the podcasting, his hair, his clothes, his outfits. Yes, the Super Bowl, he didn't dive on that football, but you mentioned before, Champ, Luke Kuechly. Even though he acknowledged that Cam didn't dive for that football, has said nothing but great things about Cam Newton as a teammate and as a person. Do I agree with Cam? Once again, that he doesn't have Jalen Hurts top 10? I disagree. I think Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. My problem is the argument people try to make him top 5. I think it has to do with the success, but also your talent, your skill. And when compared to those other quarterbacks, no, Jalen Hurts, in terms of the talent or the skill, I don't believe he's up there with Mahomes, with Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar. And I even said it, and I'll say it again. I would take Jaden Daniels over Jalen Hurts. And no, that is not because I am a Washington Commanders fan. I'm just looking at the eye test. And to use your logic, Chip, again, when you think of the Washington Commanders, you think of Jaden Daniels. When you think of the Philadelphia Eagles, well, you think of Saquon Barkley. You think of the defense. You think of the offensive line. And then you think of Jalen Hurts. And again, Cam does feel bad for Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts hasn't really done anything. And Jalen Hurts is all about winning. He cares about winning another Super Bowl, going back to another Super Bowl. But it seems like to me, we really got to stop hating on Cam and taking shots at him and accusing him of being jealous. What Cam got to be jealous about? Cam has been to 3 Pro Bowls. Cam has won a league MVP. And yes, Cam Newton or Jalen Hurts, who's the better quarterback? The answer is Cam. Have people forgotten that year in 2015 when Calvin Benjamin was out with the torn ACL? And of course, on top of that, he had weight issues throughout his career. Booger McFarland said it best. One Popeye's biscuit away, remember?
Yeah.
But 35 touchdowns, 10 on the ground. He was the focal point for the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
So,
yep. And my fault to interrupt PSP, but I want to piggyback on that. People think he did his rookie year.
Yeah, 4,000 yards. Became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 4,000 yards
in a lockout year.
Yes, in a lockout year.
Yes.
And considering all the criticism he had before the draft, what does Cam Newton have to be jealous about with Jalen Hurts? Why do you still have to bring up the Super Bowl with the fumble? Why do you still have to bring up Cam with his clothes or his outfits? If you still keep bringing that up, then apparently that's something that has to do with you. They ain't got nothing to do with Cam. Do I agree with Cam's take? No. But we got to stop accusing former players of being jealous or hating on another player. Cam Newton does not hate Jalen Hurts. He's not jealous of Jalen Hurts. As a matter of fact, Cam Newton is proud of Jalen Hurts. He said Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. I don't agree when Cam Newton said Jalen Hurts is not top 10, but that doesn't mean Cam Newton is not entitled to his opinion. If you want to disagree with it respectfully, that's fine. But to bring up his Super Bowl or to bring up anything else is irrelevant. That's all I got to say. Champ, talk to me.
In the great words of the great Johnny Cochran, relevancy. That's what they say in court. Relevancy. Look, here's what the media needs to stop doing. Number one, I will say this. With Jalen Hurts, I said this on another podcast, and I hate to regurgitate the same information, but this is just what it is. Every time that a quarterback does not win with a stacked roster, what do? We tax them. We tax them for every little thing. We tax them. For Peyton Manning for years, he had Edgerrin James, he had Reggie Wayne, Brandon Stokely, Marvin Harrison. Jeff Saturday had a superb offensive line, everything. And yet he didn't win. We taxed him. 2 years in a row, Lamar Jackson has had a stacked team, had a historic defense when he won the MVP, had a historic offense this year, and they added Derrick Henry. He didn't win. We taxed him for it. You have a stacked team. There's no reason why you shouldn't be winning. Okay, now Jalen Hurts come in and he wins. Why are we taxing him? Because the thing is, he has been an MVP before. He hasn't been an MVP, excuse me. Let me retract that statement. He has been an MVP candidate before.
2022.
Yes, indeed. So we know that he can take over a game. He has been an all-pro before. And in order to be an all-pro, you have to be considered the best at your position. So let that be that. Read it to that what you will. The thing is, we tax everybody when they don't win on stacked teams. We tax them. We taxed Lamar Jackson. We taxed Peyton Manning when he didn't win for all those years. We taxed Aaron Rodgers when he didn't win for those years. After he won the Super Bowl, we called him a playoff choke. We taxed Brett Favre. Every time when somebody has a stacked team and you feel like they should be in the Super Bowl at least every year, their quarterback, we tax the crap out of them. We tax them to life. So when Jalen Hurts comes by and he wins a Super Bowl with a stacked team, he did what he needed to do. Why is that an indictment on him? He's been an MVP candidate before. He's been an all-pro before. And it takes that general, to be honest with you, to understand one thing and one thing only. I have all of these weapons. Guess what? I don't have to try to win the game and do everything myself. I don't have to do that. I can go ahead and I can rely on my skilled players. I can take the time in order to hand the ball off to a running back that I know is going to get me 2,000 yards. There's an offensive player of the year. Name me one quarterback in the history of the game that didn't win with a stacked team. You could go down the list. Joe Montana had probably one of the greatest teams of all time, 1989. Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Roger Craig, the fullback, I forget his name, Tom Rathman. Then on defense, you turn around, he had Charles Haley, Ronnie Lott, and Fred Dean. So Peyton Manning, stacked roster every single year. Came into the league with Marvin Harrison and Marshall Faulk waiting on him. Troy Aikman. So if you name me a quarterback that has never won a Super Bowl with a stacked roster, that quarterback probably didn't win that much. It's not Jalen Hurts' fault that the organization did what they were supposed to do in regards to getting him the pieces that he needed to win. It's not his fault. The organization did what they were supposed to do. And guess what? As a quarterback, he fulfilled his duty, delivered them a Super Bowl with the talent that was around him. Like I said, he's been the MVP candidate before. I believe that an MVP will forever silence everybody, but that is a whole nother story for a whole nother day. If I'm Nick Sirianni this year, I'm just going to be real. I'm going to Jalen Hurts and tell him, look, we about to unleash you this year. Let's see if we can get you that MVP. especially with the NFC being wide open as it is. Now, on to Cam. Cam has no reason to be jealous of anybody. If anybody is more qualified to talk about sports, it has to be Cam Newton. And when you talk about when you talk about athletes who make sense when they talk, it's Cam Newton. We can go down a list about people who don't make sense when they talk. Kendrick Perkins and and Paul Pierce being two of them. They don't make sense when they talk, and nobody listens. Not to mention when Keyshawn Johnson say that he was a better catcher than Megatron. So there's a lot of athletes that when you listen to these guys, they don't really all right. But Cam Newton, he actually makes sense. So when he's giving his opinion about sports, guess what? He took a team with hardly no skill players on that team to a Super Bowl. He took a team to the playoffs 4 times. He played in a stacked division. I don't think people understand how hard it was to win. And do you know how hard it was to go 15-1 in that division in 2015? You got to face Matt Ryan, and during that decade where Cam Newton was playing in Carolina, nearly every team in the 3 teams in the NFC South went to the Super Bowl. One of them won it, and that was the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer. So guess what? He played in one of the most stacked divisions in history. You playing 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks every single year. And out of both of those, only 2 of y'all won the MVP. That was you and Matt Ryan. You're in hell of a company. So we got to get to the point where he have to stop when we disagree with somebody. Hey, we got to get to this point. We got to stop, especially when it's on the sports network that we start attacking the message. Well, why didn't he jump on the ball? Well, guess what? He's already acknowledged that he should have jumped on that ball. He's already acknowledged that. His teammates have acknowledged that. They've came to his rescue in regards to that. Cam is now a journalist. Matter of fact, when you talk about how much sense, you can put him right up there. I can say he has every capability to be just as big, if not bigger, than Pat McAfee, if you really want me to be honest with you, because of the hot takes that he does, because of the way his personality is, because of how unsafe that he is. So when you put that into perspective, stop disrespecting the man and pay attention. Do I agree with Cam? No. Because there's been too many times where we tax players because they didn't win on a stacked team. Hell, the jury's still out on Lamar at this point. The jury is still out on Lamar at this point. Look at
not just Lamar, Josh Allen too, and Joe Burrow too.
Yeah, and look at how bad we taxed Sam Darnold when he went out there and laid an egg in that playoff game. So when these quarterbacks are playing on stacked teams, guess what? It's because their organizations are doing what they're supposed to do and providing them the talent that they need. It's not my fault that I went to a good organization. It's not my fault that Howie Roseman is my general manager. It's not my fault. Hell, I wasn't even supposed to be the starting quarterback. Carson Wentz was. This cycle was here. This train was rolling down the tracks even before I got here. They was already on the right track. I just came in and gave us another one. But the thing is, we can't sit around here out of one breath and say this quarterback needs help, this quarterback needs this quarterback needs that. And then when they finally get a stacked team and don't win, well, you got all this help. Now, why are you not winning? And then out of that same mouth, oh, yeah, well, he's on a stacked team. That's the reason why he's winning. Okay, you can't have it both ways. And as far as Cam Newton is concerned, everybody ain't jealous. Everybody is not jealous. I mean, he's jealous. For what? I'm one of the most. I don't even play football. I'm one of the most recognizable faces in football at this moment. I ain't played football in years. And for people who are gonna sit around here and say, "Well, because of his clothes, because of his person," what does that have to do with character? I wear a black shirt and a skull cap every single week to the show. If I'm not wearing that, then I wear a do-rag. I wear a turban. So guess what? What does that have to do with me commentating on anything? Did Cam ever get in trouble in the NFL? No. Did he ever get the coach fired? No. The only criticism that we ever got in the NFL about Cam Newton was when he said some things about the journalist that cost him his yogurt sponsor.
Dannon. Yeah, Dannon.
Yes, when he said something derogatory to the reporter about I'm not used to a woman, talking about a route, and that cost him his yogurt sponsorship, and the fact that he backed up disgraced former owner, God rest his soul, Jerry Risk, who drafted him. Those were the only two criticisms that you could really point to Cam Newton as far as character and say, yeah, you could have did better on that. But outside of that, what can you say? He was a model citizen when he was in Carolina. When he went to New England, you didn't hear peep out. Guess what? You had that little sound bite where he slipped out of the chair after one of the linemen said something to him. But you really
the wide receiver, N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, when he slid out of the chair like that. But other than that, you didn't hear a peep out of him. He wasn't a Terrell Owens type of personality where his personality got him in trouble.
And the thing is with Cam, though, what I love about Cam, you mentioned Terrell Owens. He even had something to say to Cam about Jalen Hurts. One thing you should know about Cam Newton, he's not afraid of showing receipts. So you better be careful.
In the great words of Ja Rule, we gonna clap back. we gonna clap back. So look, man, Cam Newton ain't got no reason to be jealous, because the thing is, if any other journalist was to give their opinion, would they be attacking him like that?
Fair
If
point.
any other journalist on any other network, when I think it was Carlson from the morning show over there on FS1 before they canceled it, he said the same thing. Win with a bad team. Nobody said a word with that, but when it's Cam, because he has a bigger voice, everybody want to start with the disparaging comments and stuff like that. This dude was a former league MVP, made the Pro Bowl, was an All-Pro, played in one of the toughest divisions of all time. I stand by that. That was the toughest division of all time, the NFC South, during that time. You have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks and 2 won the MVP. Drew Brees and Matt Ryan, Hall of Famers, surefire. Cam Newton, only reason he's not heading there because he got hurt. Carried a team. One of the biggest the thing is, when people was talking about how Josh Allen was carrying the Buffalo Bills this year, the first name that everybody brought up?
Cam. Superman. And Josh Allen and Cam Newton, as far as game styles.
Yes. People was talking about how he was carrying this Buffalo Bills team, much like how Cam Newton was carrying the Carolina Panthers in 2015. We can't have it both ways, people. We can't have it both ways. I hate to be that guy on the podcast today spitting knowledge, but you can't have it both ways. You can't say out of one mouth that, guess what, he's not qualified, he's jealous, when he knows how to carry a team, and then out of that other mouth say he's jealous. Because the thing is, quiet as it's kept, that wasn't the first team that Cam carried. He carried Auburn to a national championship. So if you want to talk about carry jobs, if there's anybody who can evaluate carrying your team, it's Cam Newton. He carried Auburn to a championship while winning the Heisman Trophy. He carried the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl while winning the MVP. one of only a few players in order to win the Heisman and the MVP. He's
Him,
on that
Lamar
list.
Jackson.
Yes, he's on that list with Roger Staubach, Marcus Allen, and Lamar Jackson. And there's one more
OJ.
and OJ Simpson.
OJ.
There's only about 4 or 5 people who have ever done that in the league history. And he carried not only his college team to a championship, but he carried his pro team on the verge of a championship. So if there's anybody more qualified than Cam Newton in order to do that, who's not in the Hall of Fame, I would say, I would love to see him. So you can't have it both ways, people, man. Guess what? If anybody can talk about it, look, we always complain about journalists when they talk about athlete, well, he ain't never played. Okay, well, these guys played. So what are we gonna say now? Well, he played, but he jealous. How? I don't
Again,
understand it nowadays. It's like
no,
they
no, I do. You just want to find. You always want to find a reason to hate on people, and that's the thing. You just want to find some little reason just to hate on somebody because and Cam said best. It's the messenger, not the message. You're paying more attention to the messenger, not the message. But BRF, what's your thoughts?
Before I get into it, I want to piggyback off of something Champ said about that NFC South and how it might be one of the toughest divisions like in any time frame in the history of the National Football League. I'm gonna give y'all a stat before I give y'all my thoughts. Since realignment in 2002, there have only been 2 divisions that have sent every divisional team to at least one Super Bowl. NFC West, NFC South. That's it, folks. They are the only 2 divisions since realignment in 2002 that has sent every team to at least one Super Bowl. If you go to the West, Seattle's been to 2. LA's been to 2 since realignment. Arizona's been to 1. San Francisco's been to 2. If you go to the NFC South, Carolina, New Orleans, and Atlanta have all been to elite. Carolina's been to 2. Atlanta, New Orleans have been to 1. Tampa's been to 2. Well, actually 3 because of the realignment year. They've been to 3. Only 2 divisions that have sent every team to at least one Super Bowl. So that just talks about how tough at one point the NFC South was. When you're dealing with Drew Brees, who was arguably putting together one of the greatest quarterback peaks of all time, Matt Ryan, who is one of the most consistent quarterbacks we've ever seen in the league, 10 straight years of at least 4,000 yards, culminating in an MVP in 2016 and an NFC championship. And I got to put it out there with Tampa. Even though we give Jameis Winston a hard time, Pete Jameis in Tampa was really nobody to play with. It just said he threw a lot of interceptions, but Pete Jameis was nothing to mess with. So Cam had some competition in Carolina. So with that being said, I mean, I've said that Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback in the league. If I recall, I had him at 8. But I mean, like I said, if you have him in that, I think if you want to put him in that I say 6 to 8. I'm not going to argue with it for Jalen Hurts. 6 to 8. I'm not going to argue with it for Jalen Hurts. I'm not. But I noticed this when Cam Newton speaks about quarterbacks and their play. He's not attacking the quarterback. He's just talking about the play and what he's doing. And then it seems like when people want to go at Cam, they attack him. Like they always want to bring up the Super Bowl where he didn't fall on the fumble. And that's always their go-to. But then it's like, y'all do realize if Cam Newton didn't put together the 2015 that he did, Carolina's not even in that position to win that game and win a Super Bowl title. If he's not the MVP, if he's not Superman, Carolina might not even be in that position. Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback. He has a good deep ball. He's very good as far as processing. We can't knock the man's skill set. The man has a skill set that has translated well into the National Football League. He is a really good quarterback. And like Champ said, it is not the quarterback's fault that it's not Jalen Hurts' fault that he has one of, if not the best front offices in the league, because he definitely has the best executive in all of football and Howie Roseman. That's not his fault. We've said that time and time again, and that man continues to show you why he's considered the best executive in football with his mindset, with his scouting team, just his understanding of what he needs to do to put the best roster on the field to allow Jalen Hurts to do his thing and lead and help the Philadelphia Eagles win football games. Cam Newton, though, we talked about this on one of our shows. Jalen Hurts has more of a sample size in the National Football League. You can say he's a better passer, a better pure passer of the football than Cam Newton. I'm still taking, as an overall player, I'm still taking Cam Newton over Jalen Hurts. Because as an overall player, very few affected the game like peak Cam Newton in terms of not only having to play against his arm, but to also have to play and guard against his legs, being 6'5", 240, 250 pounds, being a tank of a quarterback, but also being the athlete that he was. Cam Newton, what reason does Cam Newton have to be jealous of Jalen Hurts? I mean, this dude is here living his best life. Deep down, do I feel like Cam would love to get another shot in the National Football League? Absolutely. I feel like he would want another shot. But you know what? He's a realist about certain things. So he's enjoying this. Cam's not a dummy. Cam has a high football IQ. Cam does know what he's talking about. When you go back to the game manager comment, bringing up Dak Prescott, bringing up Brock Purdy, bringing up Jared Goff, bringing up Tua Tagovailoa, was he not proven correct in that assessment? I mean, for all the yards they accumulated, when it got downtown to the nitty gritty and it was time to make plays and it was time to win big games, none of them were there. None of them were there. So the sports media as a whole needs to stop criticizing that man, attacking that man when all he's trying to do is give his analysis and really just kind of give you another perspective. That's all Cam Newton is doing. And honestly, he is one of the better athletes out there, if not the best athlete right now in terms of the podcasting game, because his thoughts and his takes aren't so outrageous that you have to look at him with a side eye. Cam Newton makes you analyze and makes you see what he says, and then you look and you're like, well, you know what? I can't really be mad at Cam. Cam got a point. Cam got a good point here. I just wish the media would stop attacking that man and always jumping immediately to Super Bowl 50 and him not jumping on that fumble. Because, I mean, come on, let's keep it a buck. I did not pick the Carolina Panthers to win that game. The Denver Broncos defense was on the roll of a freaking lifetime, and they did what they needed to do to win that game. Cam Newton could hold his head up high just at the idea of getting that Carolina Panther squad to Super Bowl 50. Amazing defense, skill position players you look at, and you're just like, outside of Greg, you got Greg Olsen, you got Jonathan Stewart, but then it's like, where are your receivers at? Ted Ginn, okay. What else was that? What else was there after that?
Corey Brown. They had Devin Funchess. They had Jericho Cotchery at one point.
The legend that is Jericho Cotchery, New York Jets legend Jericho Cotchery. But I digress. Yeah, it's just like I said, man. People got to stop attacking that man for just making points. It seems like every time he gets attacked, something happens, and he's proven ultimately right. I mean, the man is entitled to his opinion. If he doesn't have Jalen Hurts in his top 10, I mean, it's not a ridiculous thing to say. I don't agree with him. I definitely think Jalen Hurts is a top 10 lock. I don't agree with him. But we're not gonna sit here and like, oh my gosh, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. He doesn't have Jalen Hurts in the top 10. It's not that outrageous. I just don't agree with it. It's okay to agree to disagree, but the attacking, y'all, folks got to quit that. Folks got to quit that. And let's keep it a buck. Loaded team or not, Jalen Hurts in 2 Super Bowls has looked Patrick Mahomes in the face and sunned him. The only reason why he doesn't have a second championship is because, referees don't know how to handle their business correctly, and that's a conversation for another day. But Cam Newton is in every way, shape, or form, and he has every right to voice his opinion about this. And the thing is, I like listening to Cam Newton speak his mind. I follow his 4th and 1 podcast on YouTube. I follow it. I see his highlights, a lot of his highlights. I'm interested in what he has to say because he's a smart dude, and he's not so outrageous in his takes. You're just gonna click to the next video. You're gonna sit and you're gonna listen because ultimately, in your podcasters, that's what you want. You want people that's going to draw you to the screen for more than just a hot take, for actually being able to show that they can articulate what they say and can actually back it up with facts and information. Cam Newton has always been able to do that. And PSP, you brought it up. That man is going to keep himself some receipts. He ain't going to let you get away with nothing. He's not going to let you get away with a thing. That's what separates.
The only reason why I'm laughing because I'm still I still have that thought of what he said about Jason Whitlock.
You are not that guy, Paul. You are not that guy. You are not that guy. 1,000% agree with that man after that statement because Jason Whitlock, bros, if you follow the PSP podcast and you know which segment we are talking about, find that segment because if you know, Cam Newton just basically spitting facts. He wasn't that guy. But we just gonna leave it at there. If you want to know what we're talking about, follow the Sports PSP podcast and find that segment. That's all I'm gonna say. But folks just got to stop attacking him at the end of the day because Cam Newton ain't got no reason to feel jealous of Jalen Hurts. Cam Newton had one of the better runs of the 21st century as quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. And let me tell you something, the Carolina Panthers will always hold that man in high standards because of what he did for that franchise, bringing them out of really dark times when they were absolutely horrid as an organization to take them to Super Bowl 50. So believe you me, when that organization is going to hold him in high regard. And the 2018, if I'm not mistaken, before he suffered the shoulder injury that ultimately derailed his career,
well, too.
he was playing the best pure quarterback of his career. 66% completion percentage. I mean, playing the best pure quarterback of his career. And it's unfortunate his career went the way it did. But you know what? At the end of the day, we saw the highs of what Cam Newton could have been. And that's something we have to appreciate. And we have to give that man his flowers for what he did. And we have to give that man his flowers for what he's doing as a podcaster. Because he set himself apart from everybody else. You want to know why? We don't run from him when he talks. We don't look at him with a side eye when he talks. We respect his opinion. I love to hear him talk. And I'm going to continue to follow him and continue to listen to that man talk. So let that man do his thing. Let that man give his opinion, and y'all keep it moving. Y'all got some of them got opinions that we don't agree with, but we ain't about to sit there and knock them down and chop them down for not agreeing with their opinions. Don't do it to Cam. Be fair. Keep it 100 across the board, and let's keep this thing moving and pushing at the end of the day.
Not to mention the great thing about Cam Newton to share with you, BRF and Champ. He from Georgia. He from Georgia, and he knows
That
what
man
he's
is
talking about.
ATL.
Another,
He's ATL bred.
yeah.
Hey, Georgia bred, Georgia fed, and when we die, we gonna be Georgia
Be
dead.
Georgia dead.
Mhm. All right, fellas. Baby face or heel. Now, for those who may not know what baby face heel means in wrestling terminology, baby face means good guy, hero. Heel means bad guy, villain. So I came up with a list of athletes or celebrities, and me and the panel, we are going to determine whether they are a baby face, heel, or a tweener. So y'all stay tuned because we got something. First one, the Diesel, Shaq, babyface.
Mm-hmm.
Even though people will look at it and say tweener because him and rest his soul, the late great Kobe Bryant, their beef, the rivalry that they had, but Shaq is funny, hysterical, comical. I mean, a basketball player, a professional athlete having a rap album going platinum. I mean, Shaq's gonna run his mouth. But at the same time, even though he can be sensitive from time to time, I love that about Shaq. And he will come to people's defense, particularly one Angel Reese after what happened with her and RG3.
Bob Griffin.
Yes, Bob.
Bob Griffin.
When I look at Shaq, dominant, forced to be reckoned with, Shaka Claus does a lot of great things. Does a lot of great things in his community, also in New Jersey as well. Like Champ, doesn't take himself too seriously. Likes to goof around, likes to have fun, likes to have a good time, man. Shaq is a baby face because, hey, Shaq knows what it takes. And when Shaq says something and the requirements on how to be great, he just wants what's best. Like he always says, G14 classification. Reason why he holds the big man accountable because he feels like for a big man, you got to be able to dominate. He always puts that with Joel Embiid. He always does that with Dwight Howard and so many others. But Shaq, man, babyface because he's a funny guy, laughable guy. I mean, you can see he does a lot of philanthropy. Shaq's the life of the party, man. So I got to go babyface. Champ?
Babyface, dude. Shaq was my favorite player, bro. I love Shaq, man.
Not to mention them sneakers, too. I can't forget them sneakers.
I still have a pair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I still have a pair. You know I'm a sneakerhead. I just don't talk about it much. Like I said, I don't take my stuff. I don't take myself too serious. I don't get on here and brag. I'm a sneakerhead.
Oh, well, that's true because it's nothing compared to Mama Champ because you told me how much shoes she got.
I got it from somewhere, so I got it from her. So, but yeah, I look, man, Shaq. Look, Shaq was marketing. Look, he was the marketing genius long before social media. If he was in the social media days, as far as playing wise, he would have been even bigger than he was. In the league, and for you to come in during the reign, the prime of Michael Jordan, and people are talking about you constantly, it's crazy. I mean, I never forget, man, when I was a child, man, I seen Shaq I remember Shaq and Taco. I wanted to eat Taco Bell because of Shaq. I wanted to wear Reeboks because of Shaq. I stopped drinking Coke and drunk Pepsi because of Shaq. Reebok because of Shaq. The Reebok pumps because of Shaq. You know, Shaq Diesel, man, the Superman. You know, Shaq. And like I said, when he got on that court, he was the most dominant force that we have ever seen. You will never see another player. And it wasn't pretty either. It wasn't pretty. It was pure domination. When he gets that ball in that post, there was nobody who was going to stop him, man. And I label him as a baby face because not only that, he's a sheriff's deputy. He's a sheriff deputy, you know,
Dr. O'Neal as well.
Dr. O'Neal. I mean, he has the thing is this. And here's something when you cannot take yourself serious in the court of public opinion, but accomplish a lot of things behind the scenes that people just will look at you and say, damn, I didn't even know you had that. That's something to behold.
Kind of like with you, champ.
Shit. Yeah, but yeah, not Shaq.
No, I mean, think about it, champ. You got a lot of similarities with Shaq. I mean, you're a 4-time college degree, military man and veteran, do a lot of work. I mean, you got to give yourself more credit than what you do, man.
Yeah,
Gonna call you the new Southern Diesel, boy. The new Southern Diesel, man. Come on, we're gonna show you some love. Gotta show you some love, baby. Show you some love.
But to your point, but the thing is, I compare myself to Shaq because guess what? I didn't have to take myself too serious and I still won. I know, when I was in tip-top shape. Now, when I was boxing, yeah, I took myself in serious because you get killed in a boxing ring. But when I went to school and stuff like that, sometimes look, I'm not gonna even brag to you, but good. I didn't even take high school serious, and I still graduated with a 3.6. I did my college work, but sometimes you took a break. It's kind of like that Randy Moss factor. I played when I got ready. I played when I got ready. So it's just like, all right, I'm gonna do my homework tonight. I'm gonna make an A on this test anyway. I already know this because I've been studying while I was at work. I've been studying while I was in the car. I went outside doing, right before the podcast, I put the book up because I didn't want nobody to see me doing it. But I was always doing, you do work behind the scenes because you don't want. And to his credit, he probably didn't want anybody in order to see all the work he was putting in behind the scenes. Because when you do a lot of work and stuff like that, people start criticizing you because of it. But Shaq, he won, wasn't in the greatest shape in the world, was very dominant. There's very, very few people in league history that when you say, if I draft them coming fresh out of where they came from, I got a chance to win a championship every year. Orlando had a chance to win a championship every year. They just had the unfortunate, they just had the unfortunates to be in the same conference with Michael Jordan. When he went to LA, you had a chance to win. You had a chance to win every year. And when he finally got to the optimum of his career, he won damn near every year. 3-peat. So Shaq is a babyface, man. I don't think Shaq has ever done anything just malicious. Now, if you want to talk about a lot of stuff in his personal life, people will kind of point to that because, everybody knows that Shaq loves the ladies, which I don't blame him. So everybody knows that Shaq loves the ladies. But like
him and hoops.
Yeah. I don't blame look. You see how no man. But them curves is good, boy. But it's hoops,
Yeah, don't try to act like you weren't gonna say nothing about hoops. If you can go on here and talk about Joy Taylor's peanut butter skin, you can talk about hoops.
I mean,
hoops is definitely hooping in that hoops is hooping in that aspect.
Yeah, and she is definitely hooping. She got the curves. Yeah, she got the curves everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I don't blame her for that. I don't blame him for Brittany Rayner. I don't blame him for none of that. I did the same thing. So guess what? I'm not gonna knock you for loving the ladies. Shaq loves the ladies, and guess what? Champ does too. So just gonna be real. So look, can't knock Shaq for that, man. Hey man, look, man, it's 2025. We live in a day and age where everybody's out there on Front Street, man. Everybody. Doesn't make it right, but everybody's out on Front Street doing whatever they want to do. So guess what? Don't knock somebody just because they up in age doing what they want to do. So guess what? If we're gonna not, we're gonna say people are allowed to date when it's rappers, certain rappers and stuff like that, then when Shaq out there doing his thing, be quiet and let him date. Like I said, Shaq love the ladies. Like I said, consider some of the ladies that he dated, I don't blame him either. So it's Hoops. It's Shawnee. Shawnee was fine. His wife was fine. The ladies that he dated, they were fine. You mean to tell me none of y'all are gonna date those women if you have a chance? Of course you would. And if you don't do it on your own volition, at least do it on my behalf. You know what I'm saying? So look, just gonna be real. So, outside of that, go ahead, put Shaq up there, biggest baby face that we have ever known, man. Really, really funny, really comical, man. Make you laugh. Shaq reminds you of that guy that that you can go outside and have a glass of lemonade with, man. Kind of remind me of one of my good friends, man. Kind of remind me of all of y'all, man. I see you, like I said, I love laughing with all of y'all. And I can laugh, especially with PSP and BRL. I know that like I said, we're gonna talk about the stuff off the air. I know there was some stuff that I'll be saying to y'all when I'm in the middle of projects and working, be like this dude right here. But we have a big old laugh about it. It's a big old laugh.
That's what we do.
And then my guy Big Cal, God bless him. Just got off the phone with him right before the show, man. We laugh it out. So man, with Shaq, it's all about having fun. Yes, I'm gonna work, but we gonna play. We gonna have fun. We gonna work, but we gonna play too. We gonna play just as hard as we work, man. And I love that about Shaq, man. Shaq is one of the most successful businessmen and basketball players in the history of the game, man. So you got to give credit where credit's due, man. And don't knock nobody just because they love the ladies, man. You know what I'm saying? So shit, the ladies love Shaq. So I mean, I can't blame them there. So hey, man, if you wanna venture around with the diesel, then guess what, man? The diesel want to venture around. Hey, it is what it is.
BRF.
All right. Well, okay. As the Sports BSP podcast, we are live. So every now and then might break a little breaking news here and there. So I got a couple of little items that I want to break to the people out there. Okay, well, first off, I'm a wrestling head. I'm gonna go out and make a call right here that WWE SummerSlam is going to be the PLE of the year. The reason why I say that is because with the matches that have already been made for the SummerSlam events, because it's going to be the first 2-night event ever. Tonight on SmackDown, they announced a 6-pack tables, ladders, and chairs match for the WWE Tag Team Championships. And let me tell you, as a tag team TLC match fan, it warms my soul knowing that the WWE Tag Team titles made SummerSlam and did not make WrestleMania. It soothes my soul. So, if I'm not mistaken, the teams are going to be the Street Profits, Fraxium, DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, Andrade, and Ray Phoenix against the Wyatt Six defending the WWE Tag Team Championship. So the match is going to be crazy good. And also, another quick item of breaking news. I'm a baseball head. We just had one of the greatest individual hitting nights in baseball history. I made a video a few days ago about my predictions for who was going to win each award in each league. I'll go back to my American League Rookie of the Year pick. I picked Jacob Wilson from the Oakland A's. I'm about to change that pick. I'm going with Nick Kurtz. And the reason I'm going with Nick Kurtz is because the day against the Houston Astros, on the road, this man just went 6 for 6, 4 home runs, 6-run score, and 8 RBI. One of the greatest individual hitting nights in baseball history. So if you're not So if you're not following Nick Kurtz and what he's been doing as a 22-year-old rookie, I'm gonna need y'all to get on that. The man has a 1044 on base plus slugging since I believe June. The man is like one of the hottest hitters in the game, like Aaron Judge levels of elite. So if you're not watching Nick Kurtz, watch that man hit. He is a spectacle to watch swing a baseball bat. But with that being said, Shaquille O'Neal is a babyface. I mean, what more is to say? What more is there to say about Shaq that hasn't already been said? Philanthropist, entrepreneur, obviously one of the greatest basketball players in the history of the league. In my opinion, top, definitely a top 5 center of all time lock, arguably top 3 center of all time, most dominant player in the history of the league. In my opinion, only Wilt Chamberlain is in a tier with Shaq in terms of just sheer dominating the court. And really both sides of the court, because Shaq was also, we know about his scoring. We know he's the most unstoppable offensive force we've ever seen in the NBA. But his rim protection shouldn't be slept on at his peak as well. So, but yeah, Shaq's a babyface. I mean, just everything that he's given, as far as like all the sound bites he's given, like not just playing basketball, some of the interviews he's done, the press conferences he's done, but being one of the vital parts of, in my opinion, the greatest sports analytic show we've ever had, and we've been blessed to have with inside the NBA, with him and Kenny and Chuck. Him and Kenny, Chuck and Ernie, like I'm talking about, if you want a real Fantastic Four, it's the inside the NBA crew. And Shaq has always been so good in terms of Shaq. Oh my God, one of the greatest segments. I mean, Shaq and the Fool. How can you not have respect for a man who's literally doing the work, doing God's work, to be able to put out some of the funniest plays in the NBA on any given night? Shout out to that man doing the Lord's work. We salute you, sir. Sometimes if somebody do something stupid on the basketball court, call them out, have a laugh, have a good time, and keep it pushing. But yeah, Shaq is definitely a baby face for me. And like his contributions, like community work, his entrepreneurship, just knowing, like a lot of these guys go into trying to be an entrepreneur, and they don't necessarily have the knowledge, and they're not always able to really be able to understand how to be a good businessman and how to run a successful business. Shaquille O'Neal owns successful businesses. That's how good of a mind Shaq has to the business ethics side of things. So, and being jovial, joking around, never taking himself too seriously, always being the life of things, always having a good time, not afraid to say what's on his mind, but just doing it in a way that's usually classy, that's always funny, but just Shaq is just one of those first class people that you just really have to like. You got to show the man love. You got to show the man his respect, and you got to get a brother. You got to get a brother's due for everything he's done for sports and what he's doing in the business world. I mean, you worry about Shaq sometimes, because some of the things, like the thing he's the little comment he made about Bob Griffin, about wanting to punch him in the face if he said something else about Angel Reese. You worry about him a little bit, because Shaq being as big as he is, you don't want him to make contact with nobody, because you fear he gonna literally send somebody to the upper room, and we don't want that. We don't want that. We wish no ill will and harm on anybody. Nobody going to the upper room on our watch. But Shaq is a babyface, in my opinion, the truest form. Just one of the great personalities of the sports world, and we got to continue to give a guy like him his flowers while he's still pushing, and while he's still kicking, and while he's still making moves, and while he's still living life on earth. So Shaq is most definitely an undisputed babyface.
All right, next one, and this should be pretty unanimous. Vontez Perfect.
Ooh, yeah,
Mm.
yes,
You can't
yeah,
say too much about him. I just think the board is unanimous, Your Honor.
yeah, yeah. H-E-H-E-E-L and keep it pushing.
All right. This one is not an athlete.
Oh.
Celebrity.
Mm.
Kind of shocking one.
Mm.
Martha Stewart.
You know what? She's a tweener, man. She's a tweener because certain comments that she may have made, but at the same time, it's funny as hell seeing her cook with Snoop. That is funny to me. That's very funny to me because I never would have suspected her doing that. But then not to mention the whole her being Bernie Madoff Jr. as far as with the insider trading thing going on where she had to go to baby jail for about a year, I think. So uh I'll say a tweener at this point because at the same time she was able to come back from that. Like I said, her cooking with Snoop and the relationships that she has now, she was able to come back from making that comment and you know um unfortunately for her, with the insider trader situation, I think she was able to come back from that, and get back in the good graces of everybody. But yeah, she that's a that's a funny one. Uh, what's so
I
funny?
say babyface.
Uh,
I'm with PSP on that. Because I was thinking about it. I'm with PSP on this.
Martha's got some black in her. And lately, I mean, to hook up with Snoop,
I mean, never mind.
and then not just that, y'all. Do you remember? And I'm quite sure y'all watched this. Do you remember the roast of Justin Bieber?
I believe yes.
I mean, look, Snoop. It wasn't just Snoop who was attracted to Martha. Even Shaq.
But never mind. Like I said, I ain't gonna tell myself on national fucking TV.
Oh Lord,
But
Lord,
might be somebody out there watching.
Lord. In the
You know,
words of Trump, Lord have mercy.
Look! Rick Ross even tried to make the move on Martha Stewart.
I mean, look, but the thing is, everybody look when they
Oh,
say she's a full baby face because of some of the comments that she had made about one of her little friends or whatever, and people kind of gave a backlash on it and stuff like that, and the insider trade and stuff. But she was able to come back from that. But I mean, you know, you know, you know. I mean, any given Sunday, Willie beaming. So yeah. So
could you imagine that though? Rick Ross, boy, Martha Stewart be like, oh, can you imagine that? That would be great. Oh, yeah, I'm honest. Honestly, I'm with PSP though, man. I think Martha Stewart I think she's a baby face. I honestly think she's a baby face because yeah, she had to. In the words of Cat Williams, Martha went to jail over a hookup. She went to jail over a hookup. Shout out to the great Cat Williams. Um, but no, man, Martha's a baby face because it's like the thing I respect about Martha Stewart is she's not afraid to take risks in terms of the entertainment world. She's not afraid to take a risk. She's not afraid to try something different. Come on, man. A show with her and Snoop Dogg cooking. How is that not one of the biggest risks in like all of entertainment? And they succeeded in that. That was one of the more popular shows we had seen in a long time. They succeeded. And I mean, come on, man. Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart having a friendship. Who would have thunk? Who'd have thought we'd have seen that? And and they made it work to perfection because they are like on the complete opposite ends of the life spectrum, and they made it work to perfection. So you can I can't how do you, that's respect, that's admiration, and that's respect. And we already know about what brought her to the dance is Martha Stewart living. That's what brought her to the dance for all this. So yeah, like I said, she had the insider trading. She went to jail, but like Champ said, like y'all said, she was able to kind of regroup. She got herself back on track, and look where she's at now. She's like one of the more beloved faces and personalities in the entertainment world. So I gotta agree with PSP on this. I think Martha Stewart is a babyface because even when she was going through the insider trading, it was like you never hated Martha. You never hated Martha Stewart. You
There
never
wasn't even
hated her.
that you didn't really hear that much. You're like Martha Stewart going to
Exactly.
jail, and then for her
There
to
was
have a cooking show with Snoop. Hmm.
there was never no vitriol really thrown in her direction going through that whole situation. So it's like she would just it was like people were ready. It was like people were ready for her to get through it, get out, do some more cooking, and just kind of do what you were doing before you went to jail in the first place. So it's like, Martha Stewart's a babyface for me. I gotta agree with PSP on that. It's hard. It's hard to hate, really like it's hard to speak mean or ill will on Martha Stewart. So I gotta go babyface.
All right, fellas. Last two topics on the Sports PSP pod. Favorite China moment. Probably her debut. Who was the name of the woman that she was like throwing like a rag doll or something?
It
I
was
can't remember.
more Lena, Dustin Rose's like ex-wife.
Yes, yes, Marlena. And my other favorite moment from her was when she lifted the referee like nothing. She just lift up the referee like nothing. And then I can hear the comments from Jim Ross and Vince McMahon. That is a huge woman, an Amazon woman. But the thing I loved about China the most, even though she was a freakish athlete, and even though at the woman spot, China was obviously a lot bigger in size, China had more of a sexier side. Her and Latino Heat, rest his soul, the late great Eddie Guerrero, the promos, them skits that they were doing. And the funny one I loved what China did, her and Mark Henry on the dance floor. I mean, looking at Mark Henry, it kind of looked like Champ a little bit. I mean, Mark Henry looked like Champ a little bit with them glasses and the fade. But Mark Henry and China dancing, that says something though. Mark Henry had a little swagger, a little smooth, a little style in him. And when I kind of looked at Mark Henry for a little bit with them glasses and that fade, it did kind of remind me. It does kind of look like Champ for a little bit. But go
They
ahead,
call
Champ.
it Chocolate Thunder for a reason, baby.
But China, her and DX, of course, I loved her and DX, of course, Triple H and Shawn. Um, and how she beat Mr. McMahon just in order for her to get into the Royal Rumble. Let's not forget that. Wasn't she like the first woman champ to make it to the Royal Rumble?
Yes, indeed. He was the first to make it to the Royal Rumble, first woman to win the Intercontinental title.
Title.
It was a lot with China, man. China was she was special, man.
She was.
She was special, man. Look, I had China's poster in my football locker room, man. Which when she posed for the WWE Divas magazine, I had a poster in my locker room. I used to roll up the poster and then go out there and then do my thing on the field. So China was special, man. God rest her soul. Loved it when she teamed up with Latino Heat. Some of them outfits she was wearing, you wore the hell out of them. I know. But man, Never forget Summer. I never forget her Sergeant Slaughter when she threw the salt in the eyes of Sergeant Slaughter in WrestleMania 14. You know, in Triple H's match with Owen Hart. You know, because he was handcuffed to China. Um, I never forget. You know, the
Remember
DX.
her and Bret Hart? Remember
Yeah,
when she had to check Bret Hart?
yeah. Never forget the whole DX split promo. That was memorable.
Boy, you took one of mine there, champ.
The whole DX split promo that was memorable for a lot of memorable for a lot of reasons.
A
Never,
lot of good reasons. A lot of good reasons.
I never forget. Look, man, I never forget when she debuted the twins. I will say, and I never forget what Shawn Michaels. She kept looking back at Shawn Michaels because he kept trying to sneak a peek, and he had turned his head the other way. He was like, "Maybe we need to call ourselves Double D Generation X." That was funny as hell.
I think that was Triple H who said the double D.
Remember, we need to call ourselves Double D Generation X. And she was laughing like it. And then every time, you know, Shawn Michaels was looking, she'd look and she'd turn around. Go back and look at that promo because Shawn would be looking. She's looking.
Late 90s, before they got into that true part of the Attitude Era, Shawn Michaels was like menace to the core, bro.
But that was hey man, look, I had a crush on China, man. You know, not gonna lie. Like I said, her post was in my football locker for a reason. So yeah, she was powerful yet feminine all at the same time. I think that she would have made the perfect Wonder Woman had she lived because yeah, she looked the par. You know, they call her the ninth wonder of the world for a reason. Winning the Intercontinental title, beating Jeff Jarrett in in the house match, you know, had one of the best entrances you ever want to see. You know, had the little weapon with the fireworks in there, had the gloves on, had the look, had the charisma. Oh man, was like I said, one of the most memorable groups ever. You know, DX. Then when she turned on DX and went to the corporation, uh, that was memorable. Those were memorable things, man. China was, and you can't talk about the attitude era without talking about China, man. You can't talk about DX without talking about China. So, and like I said, her time in Latino Heat, that was memorable, man, because you got to see how feminine and how much of a girly girl that she could be. And that was like a memorable time. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You're not just all
Not
tough.
just with the Chocolate Thunder, also with that Latino heat. And when you get a guy as smooth as charismatic as the late great Eddie Guerrero,
Yeah.
that Latino heat that's gonna rub on you.
Yeah, I mean, you can go from chocolate to caramel. So, I mean, just being real, you can go. I think, am I right? You can go from chocolate to
You're
caramel.
not lying. You're not
That,
lying. You ain't lying.
that was
You
one of
you
the
ain't lying.
that was one of the smoothest lines in podcast history.
You can go from chocolate to caramel pretty easy. Chocolate caramel to peanut butter, as long as you don't go too far. You know, they're not too far away from each other. If you really want me to be honest with
BRF.
Oh my gosh. Tell you, boy. See, shows like this, bro, is why as a trio we are unstoppable. I don't care what anybody says. But moving on. I digress, damn it. It sucks. It sucks that she's not here. It sucks that she's not here to witness what women's wrestling has become after her. Because I would have loved to have seen if she was still alive to this day and she was able to come back to WWE, if she, kept herself in tip top shape, matches she could have had with this era of women. Like, could you imagine a match between China and Rhea Ripley, China and Charlotte, China and Bailey, Becky, like a lot of these women that have like from the beginning of the women's revolution to where we are now. I mean, as a guy who has always put an avid foot down in support of women's wrestling, China's one of the pioneers. China was one of the trailblazers for what we got today. And I hated she wasn't alive, but I was happy to see her get her flowers at the Hall of Fame when D-Generation X was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So much love to China and everything that she brought and gave to the business. Um, Definitely one of my favorite moments of all time for China was her beating Jeff Jarrett in that good housekeeping match to win the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, just like I said, just kind of really setting the tone for the women and what they could do, and then on top of that, like WrestleMania 17, even though it was a squash match, that whole moment in time just felt like a coronation. Like you knew it was coming because she had like I don't know if it was real or a storyline, but she was kind of like coming back from like a from a neck injury. Um, and shout out to Ivory, one of the more underrated women of that era. Shout out to Ivory because she made it. Because without Ivory, and that moment wouldn't have worked the way it was. It would have, but her entrance, her outfit, the entrance, the rocket, like her look, like the rocket launcher with shooting the fireworks, the entrance, like that whole, like she was different. Like she was one of those women that carried like a certain type of aura and had a certain type of presence that you couldn't you that you had to pay attention to, that you had to take notice, and she made it her own, and it just it clicked, and she made it work. Yeah, like the Intercontinental title match where she beat Jeff Jarrett, the women's title match where she beat Ivory WrestleMania 17, and that really good match she had with Lita down the line for the women's championship. Just much respect. And yeah, like like y'all talked about earlier, like just also the comedy aspect that she brought. Like, come on, man, the original D Generation X, her, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. A lot of the moments they gave, and then ultimately becoming and then ultimately turning into the at like the later the Attitude Era version of DX with her and Triple H and X Pac and the New Age Outlaws. Like one of my favorite factions ever was that inclination of DX, the invasion of WCW. Champ brought up the DX split for obvious man respecting a woman reasons, obvious reasons. But just, eh, but yeah, just yeah, her ability to just be able to balance, the power side, her being a powerful woman, but her being a beautiful woman at the same time, posing for certain publications that might not need to mention on air, that I never looked at all, so so
You read it, you read it for the
you,
article.
yeah, you exactly, you read it for the stories, so but yeah, man, yeah, but just um as a wrestling fan and as a fan of women's wrestling, I miss her. She had her demons. It was unfortunate she couldn't beat them, but China deserves love and praise, and I miss her to this point. I wish she was here to be able to be alive to see this era of women and how they are just kind of setting the bar for hopefully the future and what's to come in women's wrestling. So, but yeah, like the Intercontinental title match, the women's title win at WrestleMania 17, like the DX run. Yeah, like I mean, y'all talk. I mean, honestly, a lot of the stuff I was for, y'all pretty much y'all have already talked about, and just like China, yeah, China was just like I said, man, she's a trailblazer. She set the tone a lot for what we see as far as the women today, and she is definitely still she's still missed to this day.
Absolutely. And one last one, fellas. Missy Elliott, favorite Missy Elliott track. Gossip Folks.
Ooh.
I love Gossip
Mhm.
Folks. Her and Ludacris. The thing I love about Missy Elliott, she kind of reminds me in some ways like Busta Rhymes. Like in terms of her style. I mean, sometimes Busta can do like some silly videos. Missy, she don't take herself too seriously. And when she does the work it videos, the dancing, the choreography, and also 1 Minute Man with her and Ludacris, and also a lot of other tracks, her and Sierra. Missy can also spit, but also Missy could also entertain. Missy could also make everyone laugh and have a good time. That's what I love about Missy. And the style, her and Timberland, some of the tracks, the collaboration. I mean, hey man, Missy, love her work, but Gossip Folks and definitely 1 Minute Man. BRF, man.
Hmm. Missy Misdemeanor Elliott. In my opinion, to this day, I know people say Nicki Minaj is the greatest female rapper of all time. I think it's Missy Elliott for me. Um, but yeah, like Gossip Folks, 1 Minute Man, Can't Stand the Rain, Super Duper Fly. Like, come on, bro. That video for Can't Stand the Rain should have been like a telltale sign of what Missy Elliott was about to be. Her creativity, her ability to spit, her ability to to throw bars out there. Gosh, what else? Beat Me 911, sock it to you. Um, gosh, what else? Work It. Um, she so many songs. She's you know the rest of the word. That's a good one. What else is there from Missy? Gosh, I'm trying to think. Yeah, but yeah, those yeah. I like I said, I think she's the greatest still to this day female rapper of all time. She's one of, if not my favorite female rappers of all time. So yeah, just shout out. Yeah, we gotta show love to Missy. We gotta show love to Missy, and I'm glad that she's still like doing, like she's like touring, going out there. She was still performing and all that, and just I'm glad that the music industry, that hip hop is giving her flowers while she's still here, and just and being just like that. This is what we tell people all the time, like with the legends like her, while they're still alive and kicking and healthy and happy and doing their thing, that's when you need to show them the flowers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Give them the flowers while they heal. Don't wait for the funeral to give them the flowers. Give them the flower while they heal. So I'm I'm happy to see her still thriving. I'm happy that we are we that we have the honor and the privilege to be able to honor her work and her music and everything that she gave the industry. So I mean, I would, if I had to pick one Missy track, it would probably be Gossip Folks. As far as like my favorite one ever, either that or Can't Stand the Rain. But I mean, come on, what more to say about Missy that you can't already say? I think she's the greatest female rapper of all time.
Champ.
Let's not forget her verse on Ladies Night.
Yeah.
Mm.
You gonna be using me to just be singing hooks. What I look like, Patty LaBelle or
Probably
somebody?
the ball or somebody.
that was memorable. That's one of the whole. And let's not forget, the whole he hell he hell. Let's not forget that. That's
Oh
memorable,
yeah,
man.
that bad boy. Let's not forget the Bad Boy remix with New Edition. You
Yeah,
don't remember that track?
yeah. You don't have to worry.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
don't have to.
and the feature that she did with Stilo, with
Mhm.
702, that was good. All in my grill. Now I think that Big Boy kind of stole the song when he came out with that hard verse. when he came out with the Bobby Boucher reference. But all in my grill, the song that a lot of the ladies used to love back in the day, Hot Boys. Let's not forget about that one.
Bobby Boucher.
Yeah.
I got in the Waterboy jersey.
Oh, nice. PSP got the drip on tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up.
That's hard. That's
Mm-hmm.
real hard. That's hard. I like that. But Missy Elliott, man, look, Minute Man, that was cool. I watched that video because of Trina. I ain't gonna lie.
She fine though.
I ain't gonna lie. I watched that video because of Trina. But
some things don't need to be said; they're just known.
but Missy, man, let's not forget, man. Last week, I know it wasn't her song, but when you listen to the Hot Like Fire remix, you can't talk about that song without talking about Missy. When you talk about Aaliyah's development, you can't talk about her without talking about Missy Elliott and Timbaland. And look, man, let's not even. That's just what she does on her own. To me personally, she's kind of like Dr. Dre is with his producing. When she brings out stuff on her own, it's big, but it takes her a while because she's such a perfectionist. But when you could always tell how big a Missy track is. Remember what she did with the Keisha Cole track. Remember what she did with Let It Go. You remember with the whole the 1-2 step.
Sierra.
Remember what she did with Tweet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, she's the female version of Dr. Dre, because it's just like, although she was silent for so many years as far as some of her own, when she hops on the producing and she's on the features, it's just memorable. It's something that you just cannot describe. When you look at her, she wrote Baby Doll for Mariah Carey. For Monica, she wrote So Gone. For Jasmine Sullivan, she wrote Need You Bad. For Fantasia, she wrote and produced Free Yourself. She even wrote Signs and produced Signs for Beyonce. So when you talk about hits as far as being a producer, she's multifaceted. She's not just one-dimensional. I can sit around here and spit a verse, or I can get behind the camera and do it as well. So, I mean, I'll never forget the first time I seen Missy Elliott. It was with Timbaland and Magoo, God rest his soul. We gonna show you how we party. That was memorable. So, I mean, Missy, thank you. You're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for a reason. And yeah, she was special. She still is special. That was special. Like I said, I call her, as far as her talent, the female version of Dr. Dre. Because when she brings out an album, it rarely he hasn't brought out a bad album yet. She hasn't brought out a bad album yet. So I will say, she's the female version of Dr. Dre. Like I said, when whatever she touch turns to gold. And it's special all the way around. Thank you, Missy. I really appreciate it. You made my childhood great, and you made my adulthood great. I appreciate it.
Well, folks, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. Thank you for everyone tuning in, for hopping to the pod. Thank you for everyone watching. Already 115,000 subscribers. We're going to keep on going, keep on doing whatever we can to make sure that this podcast becomes a success. But fellas, any final words? BRF, I'll let you go first.
Boy, that was probably the most fired up I'd ever been during one of those segments. Boy, that Donald Trump segment gonna get clipped, to say the least. But
I'm not putting it on TikTok because, again, I ain't gonna put it on TikTok. I'm putting it on IG and YouTube.
Well, regardless, I'm just forewarning people. If you want to get on that video and think you about to say something out of pocket, I keeps an open flame grill at all times. So if you think you're gonna come on there and think you're gonna get smart and think you ain't about to get the business, I dare you to try me. But that's neither here nor there. It's always a pleasure to it's always a pleasure. I love you inviting me on here and sharing the spotlight with you and Champ. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure since the first episode I did with you, and the fact that I've been allowed to just keep coming back and keep coming back. It's like I have more fun. I have more and more fun like every time I hop on, and this is like one of the more fun episodes I've been on. It's always a pleasure. Um, it's a blessing. Like seeing where I was starting at TikTok and then getting the opportunity with Champ and then Champ introducing me to you, just like I feel fortunate to have this opportunity, fortunate to get to meet you, get to know you, and same thing with you, Champ. And just I'm happy to be in a position where I'm at to be able to do what I enjoy doing and putting my name out there, but also contributing, helping two brothers get their name out there. Because at the end of the day, it's all about success and wanting more for our brands and our names and just everything. So shout out to you guys, man. It's a pleasure. A topic not thought about is a topic not talked about. I live by that, stand by that as far as my podcasting game. And like I said, it's an honor. It's always been an honor. It's been an honor from day one, and I'm blessed to have an opportunity. I love y'all brothers, man. Just shout out to y'all for doing the great work that y'all do, and I'm just blessed to be a part of it.
Thank you, BRF Sports, and of course, undisputed world champ.
I have to say this. I would be remiss if I didn't say this on behalf of the Undisputed GOAT podcast and my co-owner of the podcast that's sitting right below me. We would like to thank you for for those alley-oops that you threw us on our pod. You know what I'm talking about. What's understood don't have to be said, but we would like to thank you for that. They know about the alley-oops that you've thrown because I have informed them. But we would like to thank you for that because you did not have to do that. And whatever we can do to try to return the favor, we will do. So I would like to thank you on behalf of the co-owners because it's not just my pod. Although you see Undisputed's name on there, I have two co-owners. It's BRF and it is Flash. So we would like to thank you for that alley-oop that you threw to us because it put us very much out there. And we would like to thank you for the alley-oop that you throw us every single week when you invite us on the show. Because the thing is, had it not been for Sports PSP and us being on here, there would not be an Undisputed GOAT. And just to be honest with you, I thought about not doing it at one point and just going on shows and doing features. And PSP kept applying the fire. We gonna bring out your pod, man. Tell everybody we're gonna bring out your pod. So we was able to do it. I was able to team up with two brilliant men, two brilliant family men, the caliber of BRF and Flash. So on behalf of us, we would like to thank you for that alley that you threw us and the passes and the assists that you continue to throw us each and every week. So I would be remiss if I didn't say that and salute you for every little thing, just like I tell you in the chat every single day. Look, always remember, guys, be careful. I know that I joke and I play a lot. That's who I am. But be careful. Now's not the time to be petty. Now's not the time to be jealous, envious, prideful, none of that. Keep your head on the swivel out here and make sure that you hold your loved ones close. And thank you, please, courtesy, things like that cost nothing. Because, like I said, there's been a lot of people who have passed away in the last couple weeks and the last couple days. Their families will never see them again. And it doesn't hit you until it gets home how much death really affects us all. So take care of your people, take care of your families, make sure you hold them, touch them, kiss them, make sure you cherish every moment because you never know when it might be your last. And on that note, I cherish every moment that I have on this podcast with each and every last one of y'all. Like I said before, I'll never forget PSP did have a show one night, and I was down there at a deli getting a sandwich. I remember one of my homegirls saw me getting a sandwich, and I was walking towards the table to go eat my food, and she slapped her hand on the table. She said, "Hey, why are you not on the air?" I'm like, "Oh, I was off tonight." right? So and that just goes to show you everybody's watching. She was like, "Why are you not on the air?" I'm like, "I'm off tonight." So she was like, "Oh," she was like, "Because I was looking forward to watching." I was like,
Mm.
but that's how you know people are watching. You know, when people
Tell
like,
her,
oh,
tell her thank you. Tell her thank you.
because she damn sure asked, "Oh, why are you what are you doing here? It's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock in the evening. Why are you not at work?" But that was the thing. But thank y'all for everything, and I thank God for us being here every single Friday, man. Every day above ground is a good day.
Absolutely. Um, thank you to everyone. Thank you, Champ. Thank you, BRF. Thank you, Brendan from the block. Hot Take Kane, Maria. The list goes on and on. Thank you to Mama PSP for just helping me because I know it's tough nowadays, with this country and the economy, but always thank you for being the best mother that you can be. And love you very much. Shout out to D. Although she ain't my real sister, but she's a big sister to me. Thank you for everything that you do. Shout out to Kaylin. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Shaida. Shout out to just women in general. I mean, a lot of strong women out there in this world. Congratulations to my friends, Makai. He's recently married. He's about to have a child, baby on the way, baby girl. Congratulations to him. Shout out to my friend Pascal. He and his lovely girl, they're now engaged. So happy for them. Wish them nothing but the best, man. And fellas, always a pleasure having y'all on the pod. Y'all stay safe. Please, everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please drink responsibly. Have a good time. Be around friends, family. Enjoy the summer and look out for the next couple of weeks because football season is approaching. And keep on supporting the WNBA and keep on watching the WNBA. And if you're looking for more coverage, follow Undisputed World Champ. And on that note, we is out. Peace.